Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan and Ireland's only answer to Harry Kane. Bringing you news that Jose Mourinho was sacked this morning. He refused to take training. Rumours has it that he's been paid half of what he owes. That's what I gather. And that they'll sort out the next half. But maybe I think they're thinking that they don't have to pay it because refusing to take training this morning is a sackable offence. That's the rumours going around. But look, here we are today, just bringing you reaction and getting everyone else's point of view. Look, I will be going for an hour. After that, I'll drop the link into the chat there. And then anyone can come on and I'll give you all 5-10 minutes each. Anyone can come on and have their say on what's going on at the club. I am joined by Danny, by Will Stewart from Will Stewart THSC Rants, and Brian Daigle from Tottenham Away. Thank you guys so much for giving up your time. But before we get in and get your guys' opinions, we're just going to go run through a few of the basics, which is make sure you smash a like on the stream and a subscribe on the channel if you're new. Also, get your super chats in with your thoughts for the panel to discuss. And plus, it's a great way to show your appreciation for the channel. And if the chat does hot up, it just means we stop everything we're doing and discuss your comment. And also grab a channel membership here as well for the fan show Friday, for you fans, for the cup final. And then just what your thoughts on Jose. But look, let's welcome a few people. Everything football. Big up fan, George as well. George says, hello, it's a results game. Poch went the same way, and Jose is not just a manager. We have at least 10 players that ain't enough. Jose hopefully is the start of a mass clear out. Yeah, that's a fair point, George. Max says, crazy day for Spurs news, 1000%. CD says, come on, David, a bit confused of the Ryan Mason appointment. Yeah, seems strange timing as well. Maybe Levy has someone lined up for the end of the season. I hope so. And Danny Hamilton says, a sad day on all accounts. Yes, it is, Danny. Joe Tugard says, hi, David. Good man, Joe, how are you? And Dan Davenport says, yo, David, I think Marcelo was happy Jose got sacked. Look, I don't think he was, to be honest with you. Look, he shares the same opinions as everybody. Really, like, you know, what it's concerned. Where does the club go from here? What direction are we going in? And anyone that is happy that Jose got sacked this morning, to be honest with you, if you think all the problems are gone just because Jose is gone, you're sadly mistaken. We still have a mass clear out to do, and we still have to restructure the whole footballing side of Tottenham Hotspur. So if you think Jose was the main issue, you're sadly mistaken. If you think another manager is coming in and getting better out of these players, you're also sadly mistaken. CD says a coincidence with the news coming out about the Super League. We'll be chatting a bit on that. What's going to happen with the Caravan Cup? Yeah, we don't know yet. Cara Simpson, I have never been so depressed and embarrassed by being a Spurs fan. 100%. Jack Kanicki, the big clubs have grown scared of the huge revenue losses from COVID, so they feel this is an excellent opportunity to include all the smaller teams that are outperforming them and taking their spot. I actually have a different view on that, Jack, and I'll just give it to you quickly. Look, my view is that you've seen Leicester winning the league not so long ago. You see Lille top of the French league. I know PSG rejected it. Fair play, much respect. You know, Real Madrid and Barcelona and some of the top Italian teams, nowhere near the teams they used to be or the dominance they used to have. And for me, I think they're doing it because they're scared. Another 10 years, they may not be the big boys any longer with the way they spend their money wildly. Brad Matthews, hands up. What's got any work done today? Who's got any work done today? No, nobody. Danny is testament to that. Michael Cabral, says respect for Jose. Yeah, look, I want to personally, I want to say thank you so much, Jose. You know, he came in. Look, is it the season? Is it the success we all thought we were going to get? No, but he walked into a sinking ship. The noises were there from the Pochettino era. I've stated that all the way throughout. And for me, I genuinely think he's done his best. He's changed. Like people are saying, oh, he doesn't change things. He's played so many different ways this season, formations, trying to get the best out of these players. He's played nearly everybody available to him to try and get a reaction. Still didn't get any. And with Jose going, that's now Jose Mourinho and Pochettino. You know, where's everyone got to look up to now? ENIC and them players. Them players have to take a lot of this responsibility. They made sounds under Pochettino and under Jose. Scott M says, such a great day for Spurs fans. I didn't have faith that Levy would make the right decision, but he surprisingly did. Best I have felt as a Spurs fan in 1 year. Look, to be honest with you, he probably did make the right decision. I said after the Everton game, But to be delighted, I don't know what you're delighted about, Scotty, because you tell me where we're going, unless you know something I don't. There's nothing really to be delighted about. Everything football says, why is a club always against? Our club always so controversial. Look, it's the same thing we see time and time again. Rem or REM says, wonderful day today, lads. Well, I don't understand what's wonderful about it. And AK Gaming says, I'm embarrassed to be a Spurs fan right now. And let's welcome Mr. K. Big up, yes, Mr. K. But look, we're going to get Danny's views, then we'll go down to Will and then on to Brian. So take it away, Danny.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest thing is, why bring in Jose Mourinho if you knew everything was going to happen the way it's kind of happened in terms of the Super League stuff. But you brought him in to win a trophy, yet you sack him a week before the cup final. You don't even give him that chance. And he essentially, yes, we performed badly this season, but look, he's got us to a Carabao Cup final. So why not let him at least have him the chance of actually trying to win it for us? And then, yeah, I mean, I said it to you before, David. I was like, I think regardless of what happens in the final, they're going to sack Mourinho. But I didn't think they were going to sack him before the final. That's just ridiculous, man. I mean, to think that Ryan Mason is going to get tune out of these players, who's not even a full-time coach, like a proper, fully licensed coach yet. He's doing his coaching badges and he's got some of them. But to think that he's going to get a tune out of these players, I mean, to come up against the best team arguably in Europe at the moment, in a cup final, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, some of these players are rubbish. I mean, yeah, for me, I think Daniel Levy has just lost the plot now. I think he just completely lost the plot. He's just, I don't know what swayed him to think that sacking Mourinho right now, especially with what's just happened, before a cup final. It's, what are you doing, mate? Like, what? Oh, I don't get it, mate. I honestly don't get it.
100%. Just quickly there, sorry about being late, lads. You know, just trying to put everything together, such short notice and everything else like that. Being a busy boy today, I'm getting so many messages and phone calls and everything else. So I do apologise about being late, but Card, here I am. And guys, like I said, you know, don't be afraid to get your super chats in with your questions for the panels and stuff like that. And it really does help the channel. But Will, what's your point on it? What's your view on it?
Yeah, man, on the Jose situation, I just think the timing and all of the things connected to his contract and all that sense, and makes sense now to me after the events that happened yesterday. But I didn't think it would happen a week before the final, and especially coming into the point where there's so much uncertainty now. One, we don't even know if it's actually going to happen, to be certain. Two, we don't even know if City is going to have a Champions League match in 3 days after that.
Yeah.
Right? Because all the reports in the news now is all those clubs have pulled out of all UEFA competitions, right? So, Champions League's been temporarily suspended until further notice, right? So, I mean,
yeah,
that changes the whole dynamic of it, right? Whereas we could have had, a chance of them playing a somewhat weakened side. Now we're going to be going up against the full brunt force of that. And two, do people care anymore, right? I mean, what about the 4,000 fans that are going to be in the stadium? Are they still going to even be there? Or, I mean, we don't know. It's just so much mess to this. And I don't see how, some people are saying it was a PR stunt that they sacked Josie in order to get away from the BS of the new ESL or whatever. But I think that how does that help? I think it makes the situation worse, not better. So if they are PR, they need to sack their PR manager
Will,
too.
To add to that, right? You're talking about a guy called Daniel Levy who runs a club, and he's full of the worst PR stunts this club has ever seen. I mean, Dulux taking the absolute piss out of us, basically, and then coming out and doing what they did with their next statement on Twitter. The club is a joke. The way they do things with the media, it's a joke. And I don't think Daniel Levy actually thought about this. If anything, I think he probably thought, oh, it actually might help with covering up on this European Super League situation. But if anything, you're right. It's made it completely worse. It's just it baffles me what goes through that man's head, Daniel Levy's head, because he's just deluded, mate.
Well, it might baffle you, but looking back on it now, I mean, give Brian 100% credit, and I agree with him. But looking back now, everything he's done has had an absolute purpose.
Yeah, no,
It's
yeah,
almost like an evil mastermind. Everything he's done for the last 10 years has been intentional. It didn't make sense at the time, but now looking back at it, it makes crystal clear sense to me after the news from yesterday.
But why would you sack the manager before a cup final? That doesn't make sense.
Because it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter to him.
We'll get Brian's views on this, lads. Let Brian in.
Just another quiet day at Tottenham Hotspur. Nothing really happening. Let's go back in time and let's just look at this man, the buffoon Levy is. You scout Jose for 20 years or however long it may be, watch him in close quarters. You see that the three things he does is spend millions, hundreds of millions, wins trophies, absolutely causes the whole club to be full of toxins, and then leaves. Well, Daniel Levy has obviously done his scouting, doesn't give him money, and within 18 months, this has happened. He has sacked him within 18 months with no backing, no help, no assistance. And then what's he gone and done? This is how stupid this man is. You brought him in to get top four or win a cup, and you sack him the week before a cup final. Where is there any logic, sense between that? If you're a fantastic businessman, what kind of business is that? What kind of example does that set? You're now going into a cup final where no matter what you thought about Jose, no matter, take Tottenham out of it, if any club was playing any team and they had one manager to win one game, just one game, every team would say, I want Jose Mourinho there. Everyone for that one game. And you've gone and done it. And people are saying, oh, it's a PR stunt, but it's not even a PR stunt. You know what it is? This whole European Super League has caused these 15 teams to be in the media, or 12 as it is right now, to be in the media. And they're all getting, rightfully so, absolutely hung, drawn and quartered, rightly so. Daniel Levy can't have it that 15 teams are getting it. No, we have to stand out. So what we're going to do is we're going to sack our manager. The whole club, like I've said on any channel that I go on today, and I've said on We Are Tottenham TV, I am ashamed, embarrassed and disgraced to be a Tottenham Hotspur fan right now. This is not the Tottenham I love. This is not the Tottenham I was brought up on. This is not the Tottenham history I was given. This is the most diabolical couple of days I've seen as a Spurs fan in my 30 plus, I'm 41 now, so let's say 35 years of following Tottenham Hotspur. It's absolutely appalling. And I just don't even know where we go from here. I don't even know where we go.
Yeah, but no, look, we're in a car going around the bend with no steering wheel at the minute, Brian. You know what I mean? There's only one outcome, and that's a car crash, lad. But Loves Music says here, guide about Jose, very saddened at how the club is, and I fully agree with you. And Love Music again with another super chat. Says, who actually now cares about the cup final? Big up Love Musics for the super chat. Look, guys, the chat is flying. Like I said, there's already over 124 people watching. I do try and get everybody's comments up. Everyone that tunes in regularly knows that. But the super chats does help the channel, and also it guarantees your comment to be read out. And he says, who actually now cares about the cup final? Look, one message I do want to put out there, and I was the same after the Everton game, is, look, no matter all the shit that's gone on today, us fans, we actually deserve that day out. You know, forget about the club and everything else. Think about us. Us fans, we deserve that day out. We deserve it. And for me, I think come Friday to Sunday, we should enjoy it, especially with the shit we've had to endure this season, the pain, everything else. You know what I mean? So we should, us as fans, should be enjoying that cup final from Friday to Sunday. Then we can go back to all the negativity again after. But that's my message for us fans. But lads, you know, Jiminy made a good point up here as well. He was saying about Kane and Son, you know, especially with the European Super League coming in as well. A, they're going to stick around for a rebuild, and B, are they going to go to the European Super League with Tottenham? Because we know how much the World Cup means to Harry Kane. What do you think, Danny?
I think that there's no way in hell that FIFA or UEFA can ban these players from participating in the respective competitions for those governing bodies, because you got to think about it, right? If there is a European Super League, which looks like it's coming, all the best players in the world are going to be playing in that league, right? All the best teams in the world. Now, they're the people that bring the views, bring the money, the merchandising for these biggest clubs in the world, right? If you ban these players from internationals, European, UEFA Champions League, whatever, right? They're going to lose views because everyone is going to want to watch those players. So the reason it ties into what's going on, because the reason why the the European Super League are doing what they're doing is because they want to make money, right? You take away the things that make the money from the other leagues and other competitions they're in. Who's going to want to watch them? You're telling me that the world is going to want to watch Leeds United and Norwich on a weekly basis without Harry Kane, or you're going to watch Barcelona, going to watch La Liga without Real Madrid and Barcelona, or for example Messi or Ronaldo at Juventus. Everyone's going to want to watch these players, Mbappe and players like that. Like they're going to want to watch them, and that is what football fans want to see: the best against the best, right? So the reason why these governing bodies are saying what they're saying is because they know they're going to lose a lot of money out of it. So I can see them kind of doing some sort of deal with them where they're going to have some other competition or something that's going to be like a joint thing with them, with the European Super League, so that they can kind of make money on a separate tournament as well. It's gonna be, like Will said, like a franchise sport. It's going to be so many different areas that are going to come off this because of it. And yeah, for me, like there's no way that they can stop international footballers playing international football or taking them out of the Premier League. It's just not going to happen, because they're the ones who bring the money in and bring the viewers in. Like, would you enjoy watching Spurs, just even though they're your team, if Harry Kane and Son if they weren't in that team? If they weren't in that team, you would enjoy it a far lot less. And I bet you there's probably fans out there that probably wouldn't even watch it.
No, 100%. Jordan Stevens says here they will be sending out emails tomorrow about skywalks or their new lingerie range in the club shop soon, as if nothing has ever happened. Pathetic club. 100%, Jordan. 100%. Look, the only benefit you're going to get out of that is if you slap them on the missus, lad, and enjoy it. You know what I mean? That's the only benefit, lad. But big up, Jordan. Absolutely love that, my man.
Slap it on the missus while she's on the skywalk. Then you have some fun as well.
100. No, look, Levy's looking for new gold railings for the skywalk and everything else, lads. We have Wayne Bonner here. He says, "Hey all, hell of a 24 hours, never a dull moment." Wayno, I know, man. I know. Where have you been? I think you've been working, but where have you been, man? It's all kicked off, lad. But big up, good to see you back, Wayne. But yeah, it's all kicking off, and then rooting, shooting, tooting, puting says the best panel.
I love it. Rooting, tooting, shooting, puting.
Big yourself up. But look, I absolutely nailed that as well, my man. I absolutely nailed it. Big up, love the name and love the super chat. Thank you so much. Everyone else, look, there's 150 people watching right now. I do try my best to get everybody's comments up. But look, do get your super chats in for the panel and for the channel. But lads, look,
David,
let's take a bit.
Breaking news. Daniel Levy is going to be selling European Super League mugs on the Tottenham website.
Yeah, that's next. 100% it is, lad. Along with European Super League socks, key rings, hats, you name it, he's going to market it. But honestly, Will, just let's back to Jose because it's inevitable. We can't really fight the Super League either. But back to Jose. Look, what do you make of his tenure?
I mean, there were some positive points. There were some high points. You know, being top of the league for longer than I've ever seen us be there as a Spurs supporter. You know, that was a high point. Right after the comeback after COVID was, you know, or right before COVID rather, you know, that was some high points, you know, getting back in and doing other things. But yeah, I mean, especially the last month has been pretty piss poor.
Yeah, the last month, yeah, I agree. But look, Brian, what do you make on Jose's tenure?
Listen, I have to be the first one to confess. I flip-flopped up and down with him. I mean, when we started Poch in the manner we did, the very second I heard he was coming in, the first thing I said on Toronto Spurs was, "We're dancing with the devil. I do not want this at any way, size, shape or form." And I stayed that way till I saw the documentary. And when you got to see like the side that no one gets to see behind the scenes of Jose. And of course, we all know that the cameras filmed what they wanted and a certain chairman had a the what went in and what didn't. So I then warmed to him, and then when we're playing football with the 5-2s, the 6-1s, it was like, oh, here we go. This could be right. Then we were top of the league, and correctly, like Will said, we were top of the league, longest than I've ever been supporting Spurs. So I thank him for that. But then the cracks started appearing. Jose is what Jose does. What you see is what you get. And I want to comment mainly on something, I can't remember who said it, but someone just said it about Dele Alli. And I was going to mention
Jordan.
this.
Yeah,
because
Jordan Stevens, big up
I
Jordan.
think the thing we need to talk about as well, which is going to put more petrol on the fire that is this bloody football club, is if people like Dele Alli and Harry Winks start playing now, and they play absolute blinders and play like they were when we first had them, how dare they? How goddamn dare
Agreed.
they get out of the club immediately?
Agreed.
Because this is it's not just about what, and we all know what the buffoon and what I think of him. And as I've said, his head is on a spike as number one, but the whole club is broken. And if people like Ali, Winks, and all these other players now start playing to their full potential like they can do, it just goes to show how broken we are as a club. And like I said, Jose, no one likes to see someone lose their job. I still just can't believe the level of stupidity in sacking him the week before a final.
Yep.
When we sat Poch, Mourinho was lined up. It was done like that, and we weren't even playing. We had West Ham, and we had one away for a year.
Yeah.
Well, now you sacked him a week before our first final since Poch couldn't win our first trophy since One Day Ramos. What brainstorm have you got to bring in? Oh, I know, Ryan Mason. God bless him, love him. Former player at the club, and obviously what he had to go through his head injury. He ain't got his coaching badges. What respect can he command? What? Oh, I used to play for Spurs, but I got sold by Poch because I wasn't good enough. Oh, okay, that's really going to get people going. I wouldn't be surprised if Harry Kane becomes manager till the end of the season. That's the kind of logic that this man has.
No,
100%. Boss, I just want to take Boss Burr's comments here, and then I have two super chats to get to as well, lads. Boss Burr says over our poor players are still there, but not sure why all this crying over a poor manager who failed in his job. Jose failed. End of. He failed to bring us an identity or a definitive way of playing. He's been poor. Look, Bob Spur, what I say to you is, look, we can sit here and pretend Jose Mourinho's what was the biggest issue at the club, which I've been saying all along, even though I've been Jose in, I've been saying all along, there's been so much more issues behind the scenes. And to be honest with you, Jose Mourinho was only a fraction of the problem that's at this club. In terms of failed to bring an identity and a definitive way of playing, I could see that. But he's tried so many formations to get the best out of these players. And look, ultimately, no matter what manager comes in, they're not going to get a definitive way of playing because half these boys can't even control the ball and pass the ball. So whatever style of play people think is going to come in next and get better out of these players, you're going to be sadly mistaken. And what's going to happen next is everyone's just going to back the next manager, back themselves into a corner, and like Arsenal are doing Mikel Arteta right now. You know what I mean? And that's where we're going to end up. And I've said this all along. But look, I agree with you. Look, after the Everton game, I did say, look, I do think Jose is going to go. But to sit here and, you know what I mean, saying why all this crying over a poor manager, it's not crying. It's not crying. All we're doing is sitting here talking about it and basically just letting everybody know that, you know, Jose Mourinho is only a fraction of the problem. And it's the truth of the matter. You know what I mean? No matter what manager you bring in next, you're not going to get much changes at all until the squad changes. Just a couple of super chats here, lads, and then we'll get ye back in. So we have one here from Brad Matthews. He says, can't think for 1 minute Levy has sacked Jose on a whim. I predict a new manager by the morning. Nagelsmann before Bayern gets him. Brad, we were actually discussing about that before we came on air, believe it or not. And Danny was saying that, you know, maybe Nagelsmann will come to Tottenham because Leipzig are going to do everything in their power to not let him go to Bayern. But then, like me and Brian and Will were thinking, like, you know, look, he could just hand in his resignation tomorrow, you know what I mean, and walk into Bayern Munich. The only thing he won't get is the extra years that's left on his contract money-wise, but why would he care when he's walking straight into the best job in Germany? Tim, but big up Brad Matthews for the super chat, and we will be getting on to who we think should come in next. And the only thing about this is that the Enoch Levy out army will be bigger than ever. Absolute parasites. I am ashamed to be a Spurs fan under this board. No, look, 100% Tim, man. I fully agree with that. And look, to be honest with you, I actually announced Brian, the captain of the movement, to be honest with you. I think he deserves the title. But big up Tim, man, for the super chat, and you're absolutely spot on. And Maria Williams, big up Maria Williams. She says, it's bigger than just Jose. People blame just him. It was players and recruitment. I actually feel bad for him as a person. I can't celebrate someone losing their job. Big up, Maria. That's a great comment, and that's a fair comment. You know, I agree with you. You know, people look, you know, being honest, right, lads, I actually heard people saying about Jose, like, you know, oh, but he doesn't try anything. But then they sit there and talk about how many different formations he's played and how many players he's brought in. But then at the same time, to suit an agenda, which let's not make any mistake about it, there was 100% an agenda. People wanted him out when we were top of the league. You know what I mean? And for me, I just think a lot of people had their mind made up before the guy came into the club and were blinkered by the man himself. And, you know, they'll all sit there and say, well, yeah, the players aren't good enough, but a new manager will get better out of them. If they're not good enough, then they're not good enough. You know, no manager's going to get better out of them. They have to go. But big up Maria Williams. Absolutely love that super chat. And thank you so much. And everyone else, you know, follow the league, get your super chats in, and also grab a membership for the channel show next Friday for us, the fans, for the build-up to the Carabao Cup final. But, lads, Danny, have you anything you want to say on any of the super chats that came in there or that?
Yeah, I agree with all of them. I think they all got very good points from what they were saying. I agree with what Maria just said as well. I think, and like you've said, David, all along, it isn't Jose Mourinho is a fraction of the problem. And I've said this before and time again, right? What Jose Mourinho has done for Spurs, right? Regardless of how our seasons happen, Roy Keane is coming.
Oh, I'd love the man to come in. I tell you, see the likes of Eric Dyer and Winks. He would tie them up, man. Honestly, you know, they'd be the dressing room whipping boys.
I would pay to see an interview with Daniel Levy and Roy Keane having a go at each other, or Roy Keane having a go at him. I'd love to see.
He's a Spurs fan as well, you know.
Probably is.
No, he is. He is a Spurs fan.
Actually a Spurs fan.
Yeah, he's an actual Spurs fan.
Oh,
trust me, I know he's a legend. I love him. He's a Spurs fan.
Yeah, the way he talks about Spurs most of the time, you wouldn't have thought so, but that's because Sky are paying him, isn't it?
yeah, no, it is. But lads, like, what do you think about what Bob Spur was saying there about basically the failure of identity and stuff like that? What do you make on it?
So, look, I agree with that to an extent, right? I do agree with it, right? We haven't seen any kind of identity because I think what Jose Mourinho has done this season, right? This is what I think from the whole aspect of the season. Personally, what he's done is he's shown Tottenham fans and the world how bad some of our players are because he has given a lot of players chances. He's tried so many different formations. He's tried different personnel. Yes, his in-game management substitutions and starting selections have been sometimes bad and not the right ones, but he has shown everyone how bad some of these players are, and they're not good enough to play for Tottenham. And that's as simple as that's the best thing he's done for Spurs, right? In terms of the style aspect of it and the sort of ethos within the club, what I've seen from Jose is that he goes game by game. So he changes his tactics and how we play depending on the team we played. We saw it at the start of the season, right? When we were playing the big teams, we were just playing. A lot of times, some games we played just full out attack, like we did against Southampton after the second half, and against Man United when they went down, we attacked them, right? West Ham in the first half when we were 3-0 up, we attacked them, right? But in other games, he just sat back and defended and played counter-attacking football. Yeah. So yeah, I agree that there hasn't been an identity at Spurs, and I think that's one thing we have lacked. But again, it goes down to those bunch of idiots and turds we've got who should be bloody put in the dustbin because I think they're just not good enough. They're garbage, mate. Like your Dyers and your Sissokos and Auriers of the world, they ain't good enough. And what do you expect Jose to work with? He ain't going to work miracles with these idiots. That's
the thing. And look, this is also what I said to Bob Spur before we let Will and Brian in. Is look, you can say you refuse to accept it, but the writing was there with Pochettino when he had to work with most of these idiots. You know, he was 14th. Let's not gloss over the fact we were 14th when he got sacked.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And like I said before, when he started losing the likes of Wanyama, Dembele, Walker, Rose, right? And then Jose also lost Ericsson and Vertonghen out of that start 11. But when Pochettino had to start relying on all these idiots more, he got the sack and he was 14th. And you know what I mean? So to say that you refuse to believe it, look, all I'd say to you, Bob, is put your football cap on and take off the Jose blinkers. Look, Pochettino and Mourinho, they're both not bad managers. That's all I'm going to say to that. But Will, do you want to have a say?
Yeah, no, I mean, just the whole thing about this. I don't want to give Daniel Levy credit for being an evil genius, but I can't but not. I'm a very rational and logical person, and every foolish decision that we thought he had made over the last 10 years is absolutely rational now. And I can't get past that point for me. I just can't.
Yeah.
And I know that we hate that. I know that we all hate it. Right? But it's so blatantly clear now. Even Jose's contract. Right? This is all drops in the puddle now for the club. You know, if we're going to be getting hundreds of millions of pounds year in and year out from now on, what's 15 mil? What's 15 mil? What's losing a cup? What's all this? What's, you know, it's nothing. It means nothing now. The importance, the significance, it's all gone. So why not? Jose doesn't want to play with ball. If I was Levy, I'd tell him, F you. Go home.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. It's fair enough, right?
It's depressing. I know. It's depressing.
Yeah, it is depressing.
So, Will, I'm happy you're here because you can be the rational one and I can be the complete other end of the spectrum. So, like, we even each other out now.
Yeah.
Well, I've got, like I said, Mourinho is just a very, 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 very small fraction of this. We are run by a man who, when we lose key players, as a Dembele, as a backup for Kane, it takes us 3 or 4 windows to identify that we need a backup for the player, the huge hole that we've just lost. And for the guy that was speaking about Nagelsmann, whether it's Nagelsmann or not, what you've got to start looking at now is not who can we attract, but who is going to come and want to work with this buffoon. Because if you look at it, we had Pochettino, who did the greatest thing that we've ever seen, a lot of us in our lifetimes, certainly in the Premier League era. If anyone deserved a blank check or money to say, here you go, spend, it was him. No, we won't do that. Then you bring in Mourinho, who demands that money. No, we're not going to give it to him. So who the hell is going to want to come in, hear the poison and lies that come out of this man's mouth and go, oh, yeah, he's promised me this. I believe him. I have great faith in him because he backs everyone. And when I say I need this player, we still haven't replaced the original Dembele. Højbjerg's there, but we had a Wanyama. Where's the replacement? We're playing Dembele out of position. We don't act. Right back, Carl Walker, haven't replaced him. Danny Rose, left back, all right, Reguilon, but he's not been great. But how many seasons we needed a left back before we don't act till 3 or 4 windows later.
3 or 4 attempts to replace Kyle Walker.
Well, the managers don't come in. The managers come in and don't get backed. And why the hell has Steve Hitchen not been sacked today?
Yeah, he should be.
Sure, he will be.
Well, they all should have been sacked together. Sacramento. If Daniel Levy had any bloody brains, he would have sacked Jose and offered Sacramento to stay till the end of the season. Because everyone's been banging on about how he's a great attacking forward-thinking coach. Well, do you know what? You wanted to be a coach. Now's your chance. Oh no, that would be a clever.
Well,
freezing up, Brian.
Move, and I'm incapable of.
You're frozen up there. We didn't.
You're back. You're back again. You're back again.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
I would say Steve Hitchens' job just got.
Did you catch? What part did you catch? What?
Oh, it's only the last sentence that you froze up.
Jack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Emily Dunn here says, if the players don't want to try, no manager can help. You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it. And Bob saying not saying Jose is the biggest problem, buddy. No, I'm talking about his specific role. He failed. Simple. And sorry, mate. West Ham poorer players. Better team because of the manager. No, what I would say, Bob, is that they probably have players that want to be there and are actually genuinely trying. It's not always down to just, the manager and that. It's also down to the players trying and putting the work rate in as well. So I'm not exactly going to be basing my opinion off of what West Ham are doing, to be honest with you, because they actually have players that actually care about their club and want to be there and don't giggle with each other after a loss. You know what I mean? So it's not all just down to Jose. We can use West Ham as a reference point if we want, but like I said, they have players that are down for the cause. Lads, we actually have over 210 people watching. It's absolutely insane. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you smash a subscribe on the channel if you're new. Also, lads, get your super chats in. It really does help the channel grow. And the chat is flying, and I'm struggling to keep up. It just means we're guaranteed to discuss your comment. But, lads, look, where do we go from here? What's the direction, Danny?
Do you know what? I said it last night, right? At the moment, you just got to wait and see what happens, because if this European Super League thing is going to happen, which it looks like it, we're just going to have to wait and see, because like they say about all this money that we're going to be getting every year, 350 million euros per year, whatever it is, 275 million in pounds or whatever. What are we actually going to see of that? Like, we know Daniel Levy, right? And Brian knows Daniel Levy very well and how his mind works. So are we going to see that money actually invested in the team? Or are we going to see them try and invest the franchise brand even more to try and maximize even more profits? I don't know. So for me, I just think we just got to wait and see, man, because we're such in an unknown territory with manager, with where the club's direction's going, with the Super League, just with everything. I mean, it's just a complete shambles, man. Everything is a complete shambles. So we just got to wait and see. That's the only bit of advice I can say to people is don't try and get too emotional on everything right now, because no one really knows what's going to happen. And we don't know the format of what's the new league and how everything's going to work with transfers, and if it is going to happen, and what managers, what direction the club going. We just got to wait and see. That's the only thing we can do.
Steve Hitchens' job just got 10 times easier, because now there's 100 teams of players, 90 or 85 teams full of players who are all now going to be knocking the door down on those 12 clubs to get there. There's no more recruiting anymore, right? If people over there in I mean, I'm sorry, it sucks, I know, but the players playing in France and the players playing in Germany, your clubs can have a principled stance all they want. Those players will be gone inside 3 years if this happens. Yeah,
100%. Just quickly, lads, couple of chats to get here. Awesome Moss says, wow, just got the news. Who's in charge now? Look, who's in charge is Ryan Mason and Chris Powell until further notice. So that's who's in charge right now. And Rod Dunhill, just on the West Ham comparison as well, he says, well, Moyes also got West Ham relegated the first time he was there, which is true. You know what I mean? What's the difference? Better players? I don't know. And then Joe Grimes was here as well. Big up, Joe. Welcome to the stream, Joe. He says, Hitch and do your job like all of us have to do. We all work in difficult environments at various stages, but you still do your job properly. 100%, Joe. But Brian, where do you think we go from here?
So I've been saying for the last few weeks, probably since the North London derby defeat against the Filth, that I actually don't understand anything that's going on with my football club on the pitch. I don't understand formations. I don't understand tactics. I don't understand the team's mentality. I don't understand the players and what they're doing on their social medias and as well as on the pitch. Well, it's the same with the club. I have gone with the buffoons in charge, and I'm only saying buffoons because, as you said, you asked me to watch my language, and it's a lot easier to say buffoon than it is.
No, it's only for this stream because of the time of the day it is. Look, tonight
exactly. I just don't feel like being my normal Gordon Ramsay on ecstasy swearing mode. So let's just say the buffoons. I just, for the last few years, I just don't understand where we're going or what we're doing. I wouldn't be surprised if they go and make they're probably going to make the next manager chirpy. Let's get Chirpy in as manager because he'll
He'll do a better
and then
job.
he'll get his assistant manager. You know, let's get Ali Gold in. Ali Gold speaks more sense than most people. Let's get
Why
him in as
hasn't
manager.
Ali come out with something yet, too?
I'm sure he will. And
He
do you
needs
know
to get
why?
on it quicker.
The one thing I'll say about Ali Gold as well, I trust Ali Gold more than anyone on Sky, BT, or any of them. So if Ali Gold is taking his time, like he said with the Gareth Bale thing, he is taking his time to get the facts, before he starts talking the fiction.
Yeah,
that is the one thing Ali Gold does. He speaks facts.
Yeah.
As I said, like I said in yesterday's stream, it's now 11:42 here in the Eastern time for me and Will, which is what 3:42, 4:42 for you. If Daniel Levy came out and said it's 4:43 in the next minute, I wouldn't believe him. That's how bad I don't believe a word that come out of their mouth. I have no idea of the direction. All I do know is it's in reverse.
Yeah, 100%. Look, lads, though, who would you like to see come in as the next manager?
Ten Hag.
I don't think he'll work, you know.
No, I don't think he'll work. Not under the current infrastructure at Tottenham. He won't work. He won't. They've got to change, like Brian said, right? They've got to change the whole infrastructure for him to work. Because I watch Ajax weekly, right? And the thing is with Ajax, they play really good football, but the problem is obviously they are in a league, right? But they recruit young players from Brazil or South America a lot, Argentina and those kind of places, and a lot of their talent is all these young kids who are giving game time. And the problem is, I don't think that's going to work in the Premier League, and how, especially if we're going into this new Super League kind of business. I just can't see it, because they need the whole youth network and the youth infrastructure. They need the scouting infrastructure. And do you know what? I don't think any manager is going to change this mentality shift at Spurs if it doesn't start from the top downwards, because the problem is you're still going to have Hitchin there, mate, and Hitchin is a joke. He's the disgrace of a person in that job. I mean, I don't even know what to say about it anymore.
So Danny, one thing I will say, when I say Ten Hag, remember, like I've been saying on all the other channels, the only reason I want Ten Hag is if he brings his scouting network, if he brings the whole goddamn thing, not just bringing
it's
him
not
out.
going to happen. That's the problem.
If Hitchin and all the others stay, then Ten Hag's not going to work. Actually, no one's going to work.
Yeah, no one.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But if we got Ten Hag in and his assistants came in, his scouting networks, his fitness, the whole thing, that's the man I want, and only him.
Yeah. Wayne Bonner says, let Levy manage the team. It's kind of getting to that point, isn't it, though, lads? You know, where no one else is good enough, and he doesn't trust anyone to back. So surely, do you know what? I don't even think Levy would trust himself to back himself, to be honest, with financially, with money to go and buy players, to be honest. So, but
wouldn't it be fun to see the transfer market arguments with himself? I want to pay 10 million for this. No, £3 on a pot noodle. No, £7 in a bag of quavers. That's what would be happening the whole time. That'd be great fun.
100%. Jack Kanicki says, does anyone on the panel reckon there will be a decent portion of quality players who opt not to play in the new European Super League? Look, you're always going to have them players that probably aren't good enough to play for the country anyway, and will be greedy and take money, like players that have gone out to the Chinese league. You know what I mean? But I don't know, you know. Look, there's a lot of people, like Harry Kane. I know he prides himself on playing for England. You know what I mean? There are a lot of people that, for them, represent, well, it used to be that way, but for them, getting to represent their country is the pinnacle. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that kind of sways. And I hope there is a decent proportion that pull out. Like, fairness to Bruno Fernandes, he tweeted today saying, you know, money can't buy dreams and stuff like that. So fair play to him. What do you make on that, guys?
I mean, he hasn't resigned yet, has he?
Yeah, exactly. You
come out and tweet, money can't buy dreams all you want. Unless you back that up with actual actions, it's worthless words.
See, I don't think he's going to resign until he knows what's going on either. You know, that sort of way.
Go on, David.
Like, for me, just if you're a player, I don't think you're going to see many players doing anything about it now until a decision is made on what is going to happen, what the sanctions are, this, that, and the other. Because any player to come out and say something now and then say they're going to walk away from it, they're giving up a contract, they're giving up a wage. especially through these times. So to be honest, I can't see too many coming out and doing anything about it now. But sorry,
Won't
go on.
see any of them come out about and do
None,
anything
none of
about
them
it.
will. None of them
Period.
will. And
They'll say
yeah.
it. There'll be ones that'll come out and say stuff about it, but not one of them's going to give up their 350,000 pounds a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Not one of them.
It was and it's just like the Tottenham players, right? Exactly the Tottenham players. Oh yeah, we're
Look
up
at
for this.
Tuchel today.
We're up
in
for
the
this
interview.
derby. We're up for this. We're up for this derby. We're up for beating Zagreb. We're gonna do it. What do? Nothing. Nothing on the pitch. It's just.
You guys see
action
Tuchel's
speaks-
press conference today?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Action speaks
I'm
louder
an
than
employee
words.
of the club. I trust my club.
Yep. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but these players are gonna be in the limelight even more, right? I'll tell you one thing, right? Like everything here is about money. Everything is about money, right? If you're going into the European Super League, you're going to be on a bigger global media streaming platform. It's going to be hitting across the world to more viewers than ever before, right? There's going to be more sponsorship deals for these players, which means more money for them.
Sponsorship deals are going to
right?
be huge.
The individual sponsorship deals for these players is going to be skyrocketed compared to what it is now, right? Because there's going to be so much more money invested in this league, and because it's going to be watched around the world more than ever, right? So for footballers to come out and say that is a load of rubbish, because I'll tell you one thing, right? If these footballers' wages go up because of this European Super League, or not even the wages, right? It's their sponsorship deals that they're going to get from all around all the companies, because they're going to become more of a brand name. Players are going to become more branded because they're going to be the camera is going to be on them even more intensified. Like it's I don't agree with what footballers are saying, because nowadays everything's about money. Because why do you think all these players go to like the Man Cities, right, and the big clubs? Because they get paid ridiculous wages, and because they can attract more players, right, who they can pay the big wages, which gives them a better chance of winning titles. But at the end of the day, it's still all about money. I don't know what you guys
I
think
think
about
Bruno
it.
Fernandes, he and that's why his comment was, I would say, soft. I think of that as a soft comment. That is not a condemnation. That is, in principle, I don't agree with it, but my hands are tied type of comment.
Yeah. Well, look at Diego Simeone. He came out and said, "I'm behind the club, whatever happens."
Yeah.
Tuchel said the same thing.
They all,
Ollie said the same. Ollie said the same thing as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because they know it's going to be better for their investment in their squads if this happens. They know that. They're not silly.
It's all that. It's all that.
To be honest with you,
It's
lads,
all about money. Bobby knows.
Jordan brings up VAR here. To be honest with you, if they do form this new European Super League, I hope they fucking take VAR with them, because I'm sick of that shit as well. You know what I mean? And just leave us go back to the football that we grew up loving, watching, and are so passionate about. Because at the end of the day, you know, like I was saying on We Are Tottenham TV, they can sit there all they want, you know, preaching footballs for everybody, no matter what race, no matter rich or poor, this, that, and the other, right? But now what they've done is they're just showing their hand. You know, they couldn't care about any of us. The football's not for everybody. They now want to take over football and leave it for the elite and the rich. Like, do they think that normal match day going fans are going to have the money to travel to the most expensive cities in Europe, out to Qatar, out to India, out to America to watch their teams play? Not a fear of it.
That's a sad fact, isn't it, Dave? The fact is, matey, is that they don't give a shit, and they don't have to. You know, financially, they don't need to give a shit about us, and that's the saddest thing about it. They know they're sorted. And we'll probably echo that. We're only a little drop in the ocean when it comes to the financial globe that's coming our way. And unfortunately, a few people outside outside the stadium holding up banners ain't going to mean anything. And that's the saddest thing about it.
What we need to do, I'm not being funny.
That's the most hurting thing about it, is that our club is meaning less to us today than what it did yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. Just before I do have something to say, TJ says, we were top of the league, then fans moaned about the style of Jose changing things, or so Jose changed things. Then when everything fell apart, that's when everything fell apart. No, look, that's a fair comment, TJ. He is right, though. He is right. When we were top of the league, fans were still complaining about the style of football. And injuries and all did have a part to play in that as well.
Injuries,
fair comment, my man. Fair comment. But look, in terms of back to what we were talking about, lads, look, for me, they've sat there all throughout this. We can't wait to have fans back. Fans are this, fans are that, right? And as soon as they get whiffed of being able to get out and not give a shit about the fans, they're gone. Now, what I would do is, being honest, the only way these money people are actually going to learn is if you scare them. Standing outside holding banners is not going to do anything.
Exactly.
To be honest, what I would be doing is I'd be burning the gates down. I'm not messing. Start doing what the Marseille fans done. Let them know you mean business, because I can guarantee you.
Dave, be careful.
I can guarantee you that some of them ultras over there in Italy and all, they're not going to let their clubs go to join that. I can guarantee you that now. The owners always think they have the power until them ultras rock up at the training grounds and shock them.
What are the fans in the other European countries saying? The Italians may love it.
Yeah. We're not inciting hate, by the way. All we're doing is just trying to put our feelings into words, aren't we? We're not saying go out physically and burn the gates. Certainly Dave's not. You know, that'll be silly. It's not inciting hatred or any sort of violence.
No.
Just want to put it out
that bullshit. It's not inciting hatred at all. What I'm saying is, until there's a rise up of fans, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. And at the end of the day, look, these owners can sit there and preach about, you know, hate this, hate that. They're taking the game from us. They're taking our club from us. You know what I mean? They can sit there and preach it all they want, but actions are louder than words. And that's the truth. That's the fact of the matter. Actions are louder than words.
The conclusion that I've come to from this is UEFA, FAs, FIFA, the Premier League, they don't have any bargaining chips.
Yep.
And they just need to roll over and take it up the poop chute. Because otherwise, if you want to save the Premier League or international football, you just got to let these guys do what they want midweek. You just have to. If you don't, it's all done.
Yep. 100% agree with that.
They got to stop fighting. They just got to roll over and take up the poo chute. If they push this hard, like I said on the We Are Tottenham TV earlier today, you know, people are coming out and saying that, you know, the Prime Minister in England's come out and said this. Those companies aren't registered in the UK. They could give two shits what the Prime Minister thinks. Seriously. You can't do anything to them unless he's going to do like eminent domain and confiscate their land and property. But then you know what? It'll end up being New York Spurs. New York Hotspur. Right? I'm serious. Yeah. So people have just got to accept it for what it is, because they're the ones that are holding all the keys and the cards, and make a compromise with them that gives them what they need, and lets the other people have what they want, right? And they've said in their thing they're willing to stay in the Premier League and give more money than they've ever given before down the pyramid, right? And yes, it means that the top 6 clubs are going to win year in and year out. Well, they're doing that anyway, to be frank. You might have a one-off here and there. But if you don't do that, it's dead.
Yeah. Is there a part of you that's let's do super chat first, mate.
Mike Pepper says, love you guys. Very, very sad day. Enoch out. Big up, Mike Pepper. Fully agree. Anyone else? Look, the chat is flying. We've over 240 people watching. It's absolutely insane. Make sure you smash a like on the stream. Make sure you smash subscribe to the Irish Hotspur, the best Spurs man in the business. Ireland's answer to Harry Kane. You know what I mean? Also, grab a channel membership for the fan show on Friday, where, look, I will, believe it or not, with all the negativity this week, one thing you will end up doing coming off my fan show is being pumped up for that Carabao Cup final. So make sure you grab a membership for that. But sorry, Bob, take it away.
Yeah. No. All I was going to ask, Dave, is let's put the emotion. I know it's very hard to do, and it took me all night to do this, and especially after speaking to Will and Danny most of the night, really. Mrs. did wonder what I was doing up till silly o'clock. But putting all the emotions to one side, buddy. We are, all of us, at Tottenham through and through. You know, 40 years, 30 odd years, 20 odd years, and 10, 15 years. So we're hardcore Spurs, but let's put all our emotions to one side. Do we? And I ask myself this question. We will move on, yeah. And I know at the moment we're saying no, we're never going to watch Tottenham again. And I'll be honest, Brian has made a point of that. But there's going to be a point of follow the leader. everyone else is going to do it, and eventually it is going to become part and parcel of football. Unfortunately,
Yep.
Do you really want us to be the ones who are left behind? And that's why I asked my question. I'm not defending it, just like
No,
Will.
no, I know.
I'm playing.
But Bob,
I'm just
it's
asking.
only
Yeah.
like there's been a lot. There's also like let's give credit to clubs that have rejected it as well. The likes of Bayern, PSG, teams like
For
that.
now.
At the moment, mate, yeah, they're going to go
Or
in.
no.
You watch it within the next couple of weeks. Don't be surprised if they go. The only reason the German teams aren't going in is because they're 51%
They can't right now.
owned by the fans, so they can't go in. But there's going to be a way around it, buddy. Trust me. And don't be
No,
surprised.
look, they
There's
can
no
find
way
all the
they're
ways
missing out.
they want around it, and they can create it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like the thing is, they're taking football. Like they are taking football away from us, to be honest with you, because they're taking. Look, I just don't agree with it. I think football should be for everybody, rich or poor. And what the elite are trying to do, the elite of the elite, the guys with too much money, they're trying to change it to football the way they want it. Now, I've always known football as a working class man sport. Always known football as a working class man sport.
Yeah.
Obviously, you always have your few rich people and stuff, but predominantly it's a working class man sport. And they're trying to hijack it and take it away from the fans. People that go and work Monday to Friday to pay for tickets so they can go to the game on the weekend. Now you're talking about adding money in to go to Paris, to go to Milan. Not the cheapest of places to go to across Europe, to go to America to watch games. You know what I mean? I understand there's a global fan base. I understand that, but I'm not being funny. The reason why I don't tune into most American sports is because the amount of ad breaks. It's all money. It's all greed. It's greed, greed. And it's a reflection of society now as well. You have people walking around, especially where I live, all over Ireland, homeless and everything else. And you are giving these people, you know what I mean, are giving clubs 350 million. So that basically they can't say no because the money's that's thrown in them. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, being honest, I'm sick of them. I'm actually sick of the money in football. And it's come to a point where football clubs need to protect it for themselves, because we should never be in a position, right, where clubs are taking the money and going to say, oh, well, we need it because of all the losses we made over the pandemic, right? Because with all the money they've made all over the years and for as long as they've existed, they should never be in a position where they should have to accept that just to get out of trouble. Never. So football actually needs to be protected from itself. And this needs to be stopped right now in its tracks. Right now in its tracks.
Won't be, though.
Well, I think you're underestimating the power of UEFA and stuff like that. I really do.
What power do they have over these clubs?
Look, they do have power. They do have power. At the end of the day, they can kick them out of all competitions. Oh. They may create the Super League, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to take off. There's a lot of the reaction I see. I'd say 80% of football fans are pissed off with this.
Yeah.
And feel strongly about this. And there comes a point in life where, you know, you either you're a leader or you stand up and say no. And football fans I know across the world, I think they're going to stand up and say no as well. They can think they have the power all they want, but the people have the power. Always remember that.
Guys, what you've got to remember with this as well is the timing of things right now. It's like people, I can't fly home to see my family and see my nephews and my niece. There's people that are dying. There are nurses and teachers and everything that are literally doing everything they can. And that, Jordan, believe me, if I was in England, I'd do it myself. Trust me.
Brian would do it. Brian would do it.
When I come back to England, I want David to do a stream where you can dare me of things to do to Levy, and they will all be done. But getting back to it, there are people, teachers that are keeping kids educated. There are nurses and doctors that are keeping people alive all across the world, and they cannot fly to see their family or do not know if their job is safe. And they're talking about 350 million for entering this. They're talking about the stupid money regarding this. The timing of this just goes to show what a cutthroat business. Football is not a. When you talk about sports, you talk cricket, golf, this. You cannot label football as a sport anymore. No. It is not a sport. It is now a business.
It's a franchise.
That's what it is. It's monopoly. It's monopoly now. There is nothing that can be said.
No, 100%. And Paul Rigby here quickly says, why are you surprised that football is a business? It has always been. In 1888, Spurs rented their first ground so they could charge their founding fans who watched them for free. No, look, I always get that there is an element of football is a business. At the end of the day, if you don't have the customers, something's there. Like, it's the same as a shop. You set up a shop. If you don't have the customers, ultimately you're going to go under. Like, they can keep getting bankrolled by the banks, especially over the first few years. If this European Super League doesn't take off, they can keep being bankrolled by the banks. But ultimately, it's all going to come crashing down. People do have the power. All you have to do is just not tune into it, not buy the stations for it. Yeah. People do have the power.
Yeah,
but money's still going to be there, though, isn't it? That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, but the money's only going to be there for so long. If people stop buying the channels to watch it, and people don't buy the merchandise, people don't go to the games, there's only so long they can operate. Look, you can always keep operating if you can keep getting loans off the banks. But eventually, the banks are just going to turn around and say, "No, it's a bad loan. I'm not giving you anything."
You got to get 4 billion people around the world to do that.
Yeah,
and to be honest with you, people in other countries, you don't know how they're feeling right now. They could be absolutely enthralled with it. You probably got Chinese investors lining up, a mile long to fund this for the next 30 years. So I'm saying there's
23-year agreement. They've agreed in principle to a 23-year agreement for the Super League.
They wouldn't agree with that if the funding wasn't there for 23 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the unfortunate. That's a whole. Sorry, you got a super chat again, mate. Sorry.
Sorry. Colin Lunsden says, will it lead to a breakaway European League with the best clubs in Europe forgetting and leaving their own leagues for money? Look, this is ultimately, I think this is what's going to happen. I do think ultimately they're going to be left on their own with their own league. They won't be allowed playing like the likes of the Premier League or playing the Cups. Won't be allowed in the Champions League, this, that, and the other. So I do think if it goes ahead, that's ultimately what's going to happen, Colin. The big up for the Super Chat. But sorry, Bob, what did you want to say, David?
It's very unlikely the Premier League.
Yeah, you come in after Bob there, Danny.
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry.
No,
you go first, and then Danny will come in after you, lad.
You're brilliantly positioned just above his body and legs there, mate. It looks like you have got Jose on. There you got Jose's. But no, it's very unlikely Premier League are going to let the big six go, buddy. Again, money talks. Money talks. They're worth so much. They're not going to say, right, we don't want you to go over there because you're worth so much to us. All right, okay, then go then. They're not going to do that. They're going to say, right, okay, how do we work through this? Because we still want a percentage. And as much as I say 8%, we did a poll yesterday, didn't we, Will and Brian? The people in the chat, and I said, right, straight away, yes, no, or maybe. Tell me what you think, how you feel, what your feelings are towards the Super League. We didn't have a single yes. We didn't have a single person who said yes, they're up for the Super League. There was a few maybes, but the majority of them were no's, weren't they, Will? But
40, 60 maybe to no.
Yeah. We've got to remember as well, mate, we still don't know exactly how it's going to work. We're still learning by the hour, by the seams of it, and
I'm telling you,
and I think there might be. I'm not for it, but there might even be an element of surprise. There might be a thing of sitting back, because at the moment the easiest way to describe it is the Premier League still going, and instead of the Champions League, we've got the Super League. That's it. In a nutshell.
My theory is, though, Brian or Bob, if we do let this happen, further down the line, what's going to come in is
domino effect,
your cheapest ticket's going to be about 500 quid. You know what I mean? That's what's going to start happening further down the line. And they're even going to price out the likes of people who probably don't live week to week. You know what I mean? Who probably are just above that threshold. They're going to price them people out, and eventually you're going to be paying ridiculous money just to see your team play, which people do not have.
Yeah, it's true, but they don't care, do they? Sorry, Dad.
No, look, they don't, but we probably should make them care or force them to care.
Sports here aren't that expensive, right? They're more than $60, right? So 60 pounds, they're more than 60 pounds. I mean, here your injury ticket is probably about $120. So it'll probably double in price, but it's not going to get up to like $500.
It's still double in price, though, Will. That's taking a lot of people away from the game. There's people that work just to pay for a match ticket.
Do you know what the sad thing is, David? Do you know what the sad thing is? People will still pay for it, mate.
That's it.
That's the sad thing. There's going to be someone else.
I get it. But, like, you know what I mean? For working class people, honestly, this is going to be an absolute load of dog shit for working class people.
I agree.
What I'm saying, this is what my point is, okay? I'm not for this, and I don't want people were cussing me out yesterday in Bobby's stream because they were misunderstanding my...
You're a YouTuber now, Will. You have to expect it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Get with it. Go with it, mate.
I got cussed out before too, but there was a lot of numbers, and the sheer vitriol and hate that I've seen towards Americans and over the last 24 hours is pretty harsh as well.
You were not. You were
The Americans are getting the blame. You're to blame, lad.
Yeah. Welcome to Will's world. My whole point is that if we want to, because right now, look, in those billionaires' minds, I think they're trying to be reasonable. They think they're being reasonable. We're willing to stay in your little league and participate and send money down the chain, right? And the problem is, what's going to kill football is the greed of UEFA, FIFA, the FA, and the Premier League. That's what's going to kill it, just as much as the greed from these 12 clubs.
No, look, they're already greedy, but this is just going to end up taking it.
No. What I'm saying is, it's the pissing match, right? That can happen after this is what will kill football. Because right now, all they've said is on Wednesdays we're playing here. We'll still do what we do in our normal leagues, but on Wednesdays we're playing here. That's what they're saying now, right? The big stink off.
There's only going to be one winner as well, Will. Surely there's only going to be one winner in there, mate.
Yeah.
In what? The Super League?
No, in the pissing contest between the FA and the Super League. There's only one winner, surely. There's only one winner.
Yeah, and that's my point. It's the one winner is the Super League. That's the one person who's going to win the pissing contest, because eventually they'll just say, we don't care. We're out then altogether. They won't play in the Premier League. They won't play in UEFA. They won't play in FIFA. And I can tell you what now will happen. This is world football on trial here, because those players are going to go where the money is, period. Yeah. They will. Yeah. And once those players are no longer able, it's just like the Olympics, right? American professionals weren't allowed to play in the Olympics, right? For 3 or 4 decades, right? U23s now are the only ones allowed to play in the Olympics for football, right? Professionals aren't, other than 1 or 2 people, 2 or 3 guys per team, right? Yeah. And so what do you guys get out to watch the Olympics football? I mean, you might watch it if it's on, but you're not excited about it, right? Why?
It's different. It's unfair.
Because the players aren't there, right?
No,
I mean, England has a team into the Olympics if they qualify, right? But you guys go watch it?
I think we only put an Olympic football team in. Yeah, we only put a football Olympic team when it was in London. Otherwise, we don't go in it.
Why?
Mate, I don't work for the Olympics. I'm just telling you what I know.
I can tell you why.
The appeal's not there. The appeal's not there. Yeah.
I can tell you why. It's because those players can't play there, right? Yeah. Americans didn't care about basketball in the Olympics either until it was the Dream Team.
Yeah,
right?
True.
What I'm saying is you're going to turn the World Cup. If FIFA bans these players, you will turn the World Cup competition into the Olympics. That's what will happen. So unless UEFA and FIFA want to destroy football for the entire world, they have to tuck tail, take one up the poop chute, and get on board. They have to. They don't have a choice.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to say that.
And end of it, Dave. Money talks, isn't it? And that's the worst thing about it. That there's so much money involved within the Premier League business. I don't even call it football anymore.
It's a brand
now. Premier League business. It's a brand. Yeah, there's so much money around it, mate. And the rich kids, the bigwigs have bought the support. You know, sport used to be something that we do in school. They own the sport now. The sport has become a business, and it's so unfortunate. But there has to be an element in all of us, and like I say, I've taken 24 hours to get used to the idea that it's here. Not accepting it, but the fact that maybe, just maybe, we won't have a fucking choice and just gonna have to accept it and get on with it. Because
I was watching.
Because 5 guys on a YouTube channel, Dave, ain't going to make a difference. But and I know what you're saying. Go out there and shout and scream and you know, like you say, burn the gates down metaphorically. But even that, it's not going to make a difference, because you know what? They're going to be getting £350 million just by signing on a dotted line
per year.
On a dotted line, they'll buy new gates, buddy. They'll buy new gates.
Look, to think that people don't have power, I think, is wrong. Because we can talk about businesses and all we want. You see so many countries with regimes who ends up turning over the government when they don't want it is the people. When the people come out en masse is when all them people go running and hiding. Yeah. So to say that, I wouldn't say is not necessarily true, because one thing they would be afraid of is when the people come out en masse, and when all the people unite together. And I do think a lot of fans will end up uniting together here. But just quickly before we let Danny jump in as well, because I know he's been itching to speak. Jordan Stevens says, find it sad that the gap between rich and poor in society is getting bigger. Poverty, food, insecurity. And now the same thing is happening to the sport, which many people, poor people, have as a release. And this is another thing as well. 100% he's spot on. You know, a lot of the working class people and stuff like that use sport as a release on the weekends and whatever else. You know, and it's taken that away from them as well. And especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. You know, there's so many people at home can't afford to even pay rent. So many people on the streets, and these guys are talking about 350 million. Absolutely sickening, so it is. Kev Williams as well, he says, if the Super League is happening, then I would rather be in it than not in it. Are you telling me you wouldn't want Spurs in there if it's going ahead? To be honest with you, I don't, because the only reason why we're being invited into it is to make up the numbers. They can give us 350 million. But compared, we're still going to see what's happening now. We're still going to have a lot worse off team than what them other clubs done, and we're still going to spend a lot less money than what them other clubs done.
I can't agree with that, because you have to look at the big six, right? They are now. I was reading an article about how much money trickles down through the football pyramid in England, and there was an estimate of around 400 million, right?
Yeah.
Majority of that money comes from the top six teams in England, right? So these teams have got the biggest global branding market in the world, right? Out of anywhere. They're the biggest names in England, right? People tune into the Premier League majority of the time to watch those big six because they're the biggest global brands, right? You got to start thinking about football now as a brand, right? And as a franchise, because that is the way it's going, unfortunately. And it's sad, so sad to say this, and I hate it as well. I'm not for it. It's just that is the way it is, right? So when you look at it like that, right, is Daniel Levy has seen it, right? He's got a £1 billion stadium he needs to pay for. He's loaned out another 175 million from the Bank of England. He's got debts and they're building up. Like we said,
Danny, that's all off their own back. We shouldn't have to pay for that. That's all off their own back. Why are we paying for it?
I get that, but the problem is you have to look at it from how they would look at it as a business, right? Forget the football aspect for a second, because
but I couldn't give a shit about the business right now, to be honest with you, because everything they've created to put themselves in this situation, it's all off their own back.
Yeah, I agree, right? But listen, as fans, we don't agree with it, right? But you have to put yourselves in their shoes and look at it. If you were the business owner of Spurs, right, and you needed to make money for your business, you have to think of ways how you're going to keep your business afloat and actually start bringing in more revenue to keep your business up there, right, and earning money. You have to forget the football aspect for now, because as fans, we want them to buy players, invest in the squad, so that they can win trophies. That's what we want, right? Us fans, we're starved of bloody trophies.
We've had 30 years to do that.
Yeah, I know, but the problem is it's just how football is and how the world is nowadays, right? So they're looking at it, right, and saying, if we're going to be getting £350 million, right, per season, that's more than what winning the Champions League and the Premier League would bring in alone, and that's just by entering a separate
and it's going to grow as well, Dan, isn't it? It's going to grow.
100%.
There's a lot more to this too.
People
keep saying, well, we can't even beat Newcastle, so we're going to get pushed over. That's not going to happen. Look, you're talking about 100 teams across the 5 top tiers of England, right, or Europe, right? The 5 biggest leagues in Europe. It's 100 teams full of 22 players apiece. That's over 2,200 players who are all going to want to be in 20 teams, right? Yeah. Funnel. So you're even if we may lose every match, but we're going to lose with, Lewandowski, Haaland, Mbappe, and Neymar all on one team.
I couldn't give a shit losing with class players. I just want trophies.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is it's not
going to make it any easier. I'm still going to watch a shit team.
Right. No, but I don't think that you will, though, because that's not how that's going to work. Yeah. It's going to go through ebbs and flows. It's all going to be based on cities and how large the city is. Well, London just happens to be one of the largest cities in Europe, right? So that's what's going to play. Like in America, if you look at franchise football in America, which I'm not saying that this is a positive thing, it's New York, St. Louis, Chicago, LA, Miami. It's the big cities who are successful, right?
But
That's who's going to
if
be
you don't think it's a
successful.
positive thing, do you not think we should all be shouting it down from the rooftops and stop trying to say, well, it's inevitable, this, that, and the other, and that we should all stand by?
I mean,
If it's
I'll
going to be,
denounce
just
it.
stand by it.
Working, mate. If there was a chance of it working, buddy, yeah. But
I'll denounce it.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to be reasonable. And I watched Robbie last night on AFTV, and he said that when the Premier League first started 20 years ago, that there was 36 teams in the first division. They chopped that down to 20. There was protests and anger and riots in the streets over the Premier League started, and then 2 years later, it was the deal.
That's different. That's what's best for the country in the football. It's not taking.
They didn't want it to change then either.
Well, there weren't 36 teams in the first division.
There was more than 20, though.
There's 42, wasn't there?
No. It weren't as much as 36 before the Premier League. It was something like 28 or something like that. It certainly wasn't as much as 20.
No, the old first division, Brian.
Yeah, there was not 36 teams.
Yeah, no, we had more, didn't we?
No,
it's not 36. Sorry, mate. It was 20. Yeah, you're right. 22 teams with 44 games a season, wasn't it? Not 44 teams, with 44 games a season.
So two teams got relegated out?
72 games a season.
Yeah. Sorry, no, I got my 44s mixed up. Yeah, we had 22 teams, 44 games a season. We used to have in the old first division.
And that got quickly, lads. Colin London has a super chat. He says football could turn into a Formula One type affair with the top teams playing in custom-made stadiums all over the world. Look, then it's not Tottenham Hotspur, is it? If they're not playing, if they don't get,
that'll only happen if UEFA. That will only happen if UEFA, FIFA, and the FA and the Premier League do the thing. And to be honest with you, a lot of this, and I don't want to, and this is going to be controversial. I'm going to get a lot of hate. I would say a lot of this is half the Premier League's fault. They were the first league to go out and try to gain worldwide support for their league, for television rights and all of this stuff, which caused them to have a lot more money than Spain, France, Germany, which then caused those clubs to go out and do the same thing. And then now they're upset because it's the small clubs from Farmville, Italy.
They planted the seed, didn't they? They planted the seed, didn't they? Yeah.
And it's been watered over the years, and this is the next step in that.
Yeah.
If you want to be honest.
Well done, Louis. There is a lot of question with regards to why Spurs in it. We don't deserve to be in it. We can't beat Zagreb and all that. Like we'll just.
No, it's just
why. It's because
it's gone to all this participation medals, Bob. It's all about participation medals now. There's no losers and winners in life as long as you participate. It's all about participation medals, and this is exactly what this fucking league is.
What they've looked at, mate, and probably they've looked at is they've looked at Tottenham. They've looked at the last. If you think about it, our last 7-8 years of average of quarter-final, semi-final, and final appearances, average league position finishes, our business model,
ratings.
Yeah, exactly. We're up there. We are up there. We're better than the likes of Arsenal.
Infrastructure.
And exactly. We are
I can
up there.
tell you right now.
We're in the top 6 because we deserve to be. Anyone can beat or lose against a Brighton or a Newcastle. Or anyone can do it. It's more prominent to us because it's our team. But we are one of the top 6 clubs in England. And rightly
when it comes to franchises, past record, all that stuff means dick. What it means is, are you in a market that can support, right, the volume of fans, TV rad revenue, clothing sales, and all of that stuff? It's your infrastructure, your brand reach, right? All of that stuff. That's what got these first teams selected to it, right? That's what it is, right? Because even when for the MLS, we started with 14 teams, and now we're up to I think 32 MLS teams. And cities bid, politicians get involved because of the tourist revenue that comes in, the hotels, the restaurants, the bar taxes, and all that stuff. Cities pay for the stadiums to be built for these franchise clubs because of the amount of money that it brings into a market, right? So
I'm liking Kev, by the way. I'm like Kev Williams making a bit of sense. A bit. He's a bit more accepting, but probably doesn't agree with that all. But I think we're all in that, aren't we? We all want Spurs to succeed no matter what.
It's kind of how I feel, right? You kind of just got to see what happens because
Yeah.
it's like Will is saying, right? This is inevitable. This is gonna happen. People need to get used to this. As much as we don't like it, you just got to get used to it because football is gonna
But
change.
see, you don't though, Danny. That's the thing. You don't have to get used to it.
Yeah, but we can't decide that,
With all
David.
the fans around the world and everyone else, with all the domestic leagues, UEFA, everything else, people can stop this from happening. This is the thing. People that I'm sorry, people that sit here and say, "Oh, we just have to accept it." We don't, and this is what's wrong with society. This is what's wrong nowadays. People always, "Oh, we just have to accept it. We just have to accept it." We don't. We don't. If you want change, how do people go about change? They talk about it, and then
you have to get the
I am
other
180
million
million
fans across the world to join you.
Listen to what Will just said there, right? Yeah. How can we get, like he said, we've got 3 million Spurs fans, for example, in the country, right? But you've got, was it 180 million across the world?
180 million.
So how are you going to get
how many
those
of them 108 million are going to have the money to go to these games? Going to have the money to pay for TV?
They don't watch much TV. They don't ever go to the game.
David, it's the streaming services. There's more worldwide fans than there are in the UK. There's only a small percentage. 62,000 fans can go to the game every other week, right? 62
Levy
fans.
gives fuck all about the 62,000 people who come to the stadium.
He's right. Unfortunately, that is how it is. This is what it looks
Levy
like.
gives fuck all about 100. Levy cares fuck all about 180 million.
No, if 180 million were to go support somebody else, he'd be in a big hurt.
One jib about any single supporter. He cares about the dollars, the pounds, the euros, the whatever you want to say coming in.
Yeah, but that's why, Brian. He cares about it because he knows the global market is a bigger market. So
I guarantee you they have invested millions of pounds. Hold up, let me finish the statement. They have invested millions of pounds into going into foreign markets and testing this, survey testing it, and doing all this stuff. They have dropped millions of pounds to it. They wouldn't do this blind, right?
Yeah.
I own my own business and it's in the fishing industry. I get major corporations that call me and pay me $250 an hour on the phone to consult for them on the ground level of the industry, right? They just call and ask me questions and I get $250 for sitting there, right? These guys have gone out to these markets and they've tested it with this. What do you think that the ICC is in the preseason with them going from country to country to country to country to country, playing these little preseason matches, right? The International Champions League that runs through the summer preseason, all of that stuff was market tests to see it.
Yeah, they can do all the testing that they want, but if fans just say no, we're not having it that way and we're not going to support it, ultimately it will end up collapsing. They can't just pull the money out of thin air without fans' money, without fans paying for the TV channels and everything.
What I'm saying.
He's right. You can't get the whole, like, half the world's population of football fans to go behind this because the fact of the matter is it's just not going to happen. Like, for example, us 5 here in this chat right now, right, in this stream, we don't agree with it, but you need the rest of the world to agree with what we're saying and then boycott everything. But is that going to happen? In the reality, is that going to happen?
I think you'd be very surprised. I think a lot of fans won't. I think a lot of fans won't support this. It's the news. It's what I've seen anyway. I see the odd few people saying,
they won't
it's going to happen. Let's just go with it anyway.
A year, but people's memories are short. That's the unfortunate reality of life.
Right, Dave. I know you got some people.
I'll help you. I'll help you support. I'll help support protests any way I can.
My kids just got home from school as well, so I'm going to do a bit of tea and stuff. And then if you're on it later on, I might pop on. But I know you get.
Jeez, you mentioned tea, lad. You're making me hungry. No, honestly, I'll be going back again at 9:30 tonight at some stage. Specifically about the European Super League. But lad, you're mentioning tea. You're making me hungry. Look, go off and feed them kids.
Fish fingers, chips, beans, just something simple, guys. All right.
Oh, you've turned my stomach all like fish, lad. So.
All right, okay. Love you, lads. Thank you very much. And I'll speak to you soon. Come on.
Come on, Bob. James Watson says here, disgusted by the Super League. Business or not, these teams already revenue the most in the world. Now they want even more. It is pure greed, and that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Colin Lumsden, we support the club, but some of the new fans around the world support players. Look at Sonny. If the teams break away, the global fans will pay the money. Look, suppose you could argue that, but I could also argue that a lot of football fans are pissed off and don't want it. So all you have to do is boycott it. It's like any sort of business. If there's no customers, but then it can't survive. Spandan Samaran, Netflix steals halftime ads, more documentaries. Honestly, and that's another thing that's going to stop a lot of these people tuning out. Especially, I'm not messing. Especially the UK audience, the Irish audience, and a lot of the European audience will be all the ads smacked on it because they just won't watch it.
I can tell you right now that from watching the Spurs or the Korean channels last night, the super fans like you and me, like us here, are against it. But super fans make up what, maybe 1% of the average casual fan watching the matches, and what they'll do, guaranteed, with the Super League is they'll end up playing the matches at like 11 or 12 o'clock, in the afternoon over in Europe, so that they can be seen across the world at a more palatable time. It sucks for me. It's like 7:30. I like them being at 8 o'clock in the evening in the UK. That's 3:30 my time. That's a great time for me to do it, to watch it. But I'm saying this. You have even the guys on the Korean YouTube channels. Yeah, they were against it, but they weren't as hardcore about being against it. And as soon as they have more and more of their own country players playing in these super leagues, I hate it. I hate it.
Will, if it was one of their clubs, would they be more passionate against it? I think so.
No, because their clubs are already in that system. My clubs are already in that system. Majority of those countries, China, it's already in that system. You can't get relegated from the Chinese Super League. Not really, if you're a major team there. You can't get relegated from MLS. You can't get relegated from the K-League.
Yeah, MLS is boring, though. So is the Chinese Super League. It's boring. It's shit boring. You know what I mean?
Because of the quality of the players.
We're forgetting something, though. The Premier League's not going to change. The Premier League's still going to be the Premier League. You're just going to have 6 super clubs in it. And then everyone else is like a complete different level.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to keep that,
I disagree, to be honest with you, because if you look over the years, the amount of times that all these clubs were constantly picking up trophies, that's dwindled over the last few years. And I firmly believe the reason why they want to do this is because they know they're being caught. They may have all the money, but other clubs are getting smarter with how they operate, and they're catching them, and it's killing them. And that's why they want to do this. And that's 100%. Why they sacked Jose this morning, to take the attention off it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I completely agree. I just think it's disgusting what they're doing, but what can we do?
Too. And I think if we want to keep football, the heart of it, if we want to keep it there in a shadow of itself, right? Right. All the other 14 clubs in the Premier League, anytime we play them in the Premier League, would banter us to death and say that you guys are paper champions and blah, 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 blah. Right. But if you want to keep that pyramid system alive, if you want to keep it alive, you gotta meet these guys in a compromise. They'll pull out on. They've already said, like, if you watch the Sky interview about the insider board member, they're all prepared to pull out on their own 100% and not give anything to anybody, not help the system at all. Right?
Yeah.
And so, other things too, for the people in the chat, please. Yes, there are 3 American owners in here, but this is not America coming in and raiding English football, okay? There are 12 other owners.
Who's the head of it? They are bringing that franchise aspect to it, though.
Who's the head of the Super League? Who's the head of it? Florentino Perez.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
who's the co-vice president of it? The Juventus boss.
Well, Stan Kroenke. Yeah, I hate Stan Kroenke being from St. Louis. But what I'm saying is that's,
me personally, I actually think it's ripping the heart out of football. I do think it's taking the heart. I do think it's going to take away a lot. I agree, of passion.
But you can say
it's going to take a lot of the good old fashioned rivalries that we're all used to. And to be honest with you, they can do what they want. They can go and do what they want with their money. But ultimately, it will end up collapsing, just like that IPL cricket league they have. That will end up collapsing. There's only so long money can keep carrying these guys for. You know what I mean? They can have all the money in the world. They can't carry them forever. And at the end of the day, they're going to rip apart football. And us fans, we need to unite together and stand and say no to this. We need to unite. Not just sit here and say, oh, well, we have to accept it. It's going to happen anyway. Yeah, they can make it happen. But we can just boycott it completely. Fans around the world need to unite against it.
This happened here in football, baseball, hockey, MMA, wrestling, right? This all happened. If you guys remember, back in the 80s, there was the WWF and the WWE and all these other things. What happened?
Yeah, but Will, all of that is different, though, to the football.
It's
That is
not.
different to football.
It
All
wasn't when
that
it
is different
started.
to what we've grown up with our
It wasn't
teams
when
and
it
everything
started.
else.
That's
No,
my
it's
point,
different.
David.
That's the American. That's the franchise way of doing things. We've never grown up with that, and we don't want
The
it either.
franchise system here is new. It's not. That's not historically what we've done, right? Before Major League Baseball existed, there were multiple individual leagues all over the place.
Yeah.
Right. They had their own thing, their own cultures, their own players. Right. Like the whole reason why you have the AFC and the NFC, where you had the American Football League and the National Football League, they were completely separate and they merged once the franchise system started. It didn't used to be that way. Even in soccer here in the United States, I'll use the S word because that's what they use here. That's what they call it here, soccer. They had other leagues. You have the NASL, you had the USL, you had, MLS and do all these things. And the franchise system, it sucks it up and becomes a super organization that ends up, if those other organizations don't get involved in some way or another, they end up disappearing because the other one gains so much power from TV and merchandise and stuff like that. They disappear. And what I'm saying
Correct
is,
me if I'm wrong, but was there not another attempt to form some sort of Donald Trump went to form some sort of league over there, and it ended up backfiring because he couldn't get the support for it. It was a separate league. It was a breakaway league for something.
They had it was called the. They might have tried to restart the AFL or something like that, or there was a smaller football league that tried to start over here that was supposed to be shorter and more prime for this, that, and the other. But the thing is that they changed the rules so much and they twisted the game so much. And because of the people that were involved in it, they didn't have broadcast support. And that's what you need. And this is what these people have. Right. And that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't have done this if they didn't have the support. Right. You're trying to take a mammoth, right, that is the Champions League, and they're pulling all those teams and forming a super league. Because I'm honestly, and we can have that now. But think about the 4 and 5 year old kids who come up into this and see it day in, day out. They won't care in 10 years. They won't.
Yeah, I can get that. But, we can all sit and talk about the kids. What about us? What about all the older generation who have paved the way for us? People like us. What about all them?
If we want to save it, we have to work with them, because right now they're not trying to kill it outright. But the thing
is, there should be nothing to say.
UEFA and Premier League fight them, it will kill it.
They're killing it. They're not saving it. They're killing it. This is the team. They're killing it. All the people that paved the way for us to support this club, and the way we want to support. We want to support Tottenham in the English Premier League. We want to support them in Europe if they deserve to be there. You know what I mean? And we want to go to Tottenham to watch games. I don't want to be traveling to New York to watch a game. I don't want to be traveling to Qatar to watch a game. No, it's absolute bullshit.
You don't have to travel to Qatar to watch a game right now. The only game that's in a neutral venue, is the championship game after the playoff. It's the only game right now that they're talking about playing in a neutral venue, just like the Champions League final.
But you're telling me they don't have plans. They're not going to sell it like that and then change it a couple of years down the line.
Who knows? They could. Yeah, they could well do.
They could, but I'm saying that's not what they're saying now.
Whatever they're going to give us is only going to be temporary, and they're just going to keep changing and keep changing and keep changing.
Correct.
That's what's going to happen. This is the way these rich people think. They give you the little bits of information, the good bits of information, all the money, this, that, and the other. What they don't tell you, and these guys are 10 times smarter than us, that's why they have all the money, is they think 10 steps further than everybody else. So they're going to give you this, but in reality, they're not going to give you the plans of what they really have for it, which is a globalization. And sending
why
it
did
all around the
UEFA
world.
start the Champions League?
Sorry?
Why did UEFA start the Champions League?
Well, it's a European league, Will.
Right,
it's
but why
just
did
in
they
Europe.
start it?
It's just played in Europe. It was for the European teams, not to go all the way across the world, which is
it didn't used to be there at first.
It used to be called the European Cup.
Right, but even before that, the domestic leagues never played each other before that, except for in international competitions. And then the European organizations started their own tournaments to get more money and more revenue. And then they switched.
Wolves actually started it because Wolves were playing friendlies and that across Europe, and then that's how it formed.
Right, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
But there's a difference between traveling for a match in Europe and traveling halfway around the world.
Right, but there's nobody proposing that right now, though, is what I'm saying.
But that's what's going to happen, though. You like
Guys, I'll be back in
we
2
can sit here and
seconds.
say, hang on, we can sit here and say they're not proposing it, but that is exactly what's going to happen, and we need to be awake to this. We can't just sit here and say, oh well, eventually, of course it's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. Will, you sat here talking about franchises, this, that, and the other. Of course, this is going to be the end game of them being able to take it all across the world.
It's not going to be a week in and week out thing, right? The NFL never traveled outside the United States, but they're trying to make it a more global, American football, a more global thing, right? And Tottenham fans were, fat and happy to go watch the Raiders play, or the Vikings play, or whoever comes to the stadium to play that, right? What do you think the Vikings fan feel about that?
Yeah, pissed off, and they don't want it.
Right, but what I'm saying is that I don't think one game a year, one game a season to go here and do this special thing. To be honest with you, it doesn't really bother them that much for one match. Right? There isn't, for American football, going to a game or even having season tickets, which you guys don't even know that what you could get into with season tickets now. Do you guys know what a PSL is?
No.
It's called a personal stadium license. You have to purchase it. It's a lifelong personal stadium license that gives you rights to that seat to all venues. And so on top of your season ticket, in order to buy a season ticket, you have to buy PSL, which is like $2,000. It's a one-time fee, and then you own it. And now you get priority for other events like the NFL or Lady Gaga or somebody else like that. That's what goes on here in America for footballs. They're actually trying to start PSLs in MLS soccer nowadays too. I mean, it's ridiculous amount of things that they do to make money on in crappy situations here.
It's sad, isn't it? Really,
but people pay it.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem.
80,000 people. You're talking most football stadiums in America seat 80 plus thousand, 60 plus to 80,000 people, and they all pay it.
This is why I can't see, like you said, right? If there's 200 million, say, just for example, worldwide Spurs fans, can you let alone every single one of those clubs, right, would have to have every single fan boycott for things to change, for actually this not to work. But can you see 200 million fans or 300 million fans from each club doing that across the world? I just can't see it.
Because fans that are overseas in Korea, what doesn't affect them is they can't. What you guys are losing right here is that home and away, rain or shine, going to supporting the club, spending 65 to 70 pounds on the day, right? Experience, right? That's going to change. That's going to change with this new system. What I'm saying is you can hold on to it for longer if the Premier League doesn't. If UEFA, FIFA, and the Premier League don't make it worse. James Watson, I understand the relegation part of football. Are you serious?
Go on, have to say it.
But the thing is, right, I don't understand this.
Canadians telling me I don't understand the relegation part of football. Of course I understand the relegation part of football. I know how the relegation system works. I know how solidarity payments work. I have a son who plays soccer, and I'm trying to get out tried to get out of the United States to have more opportunities, that it doesn't cost me $8,000 a year for a pay to play system. You guys want to talk about oppression? Think about all the 5 and 10 and 12 and 13-year-old little boys across Europe who are at risk now of having to spend $8,000 to $9,000 to play a game at a competitive level. Then you can come talk to me about not understanding the benefits or the relegation system. Right? I know what's at stake here. I'm not for it. What I'm saying is if we want to extend that for as long as possible, then people need to be reasonable. Right? Because if people decide that they're going to burn down the house, ban players from international play, and kick people out of Premier Leagues, that's not going to stop these guys for the next 23 years. Okay? All the money's going to go there. All the players are going to go there. Then all of these other clubs...
But you don't know if all the players are going to go there.
I do.
They will, Dave.
I do.
You got to be realistic. They will. Where the money is, players only care about themselves, really. Come on.
Otherwise, they'd be out right now. As soon as they heard the news, they'd be out just like us saying, fuck Daniel Levy. This is horrible. We're not doing this anymore. Have you heard anybody say that?
Daniel Levy, this is horrible.
I'm talking about players. Have you heard one player come out and say that?
But I already explained. The players
you got Danny Rose saying he wants back in the side now. Right? Now that Mourinho's gone, Super League, Danny Rose, I'm in that shit. Put me back in, coach.
And the worst thing is, he's not even registered to play.
Yeah.
That's how delusional he is.
That's what I'm saying.
Just quickly, I'll take Sour Patak's comment. Jose Saka might not have been influenced by Super League. Imagine cheerleaders dancing on sidelines. If they stop play every 15 minutes, I am done. Look,
Yeah,
I'm already at the point. I'm already at the point of being done with the VIR involved right now and everything else. Let alone fucking this breakaway super shit. But
David,
sorry,
David,
go on.
it goes back to it that I said. If we're in the Super League, I will no longer watch Tottenham. I will not, and it's going to kill me. It's going to physically kill me and rip my heart out. But I can't get behind this. I don't support it. We've grown up with the beautiful game being what it is, and this is what we know. This is what we know. Will obviously knows what he knows from living in America with NFL and NHL and NBA and MLS, how these sports have been done. And he's
No
got
one wants it done that way
great
over this side of the pond, though. No one wants it done that way. We look at that and it's everything we don't like about football.
Exactly. And Will's come out with when Will's speaking, everyone. He's only speaking the facts. He's only speaking what he knows.
That's
it's
exactly
nothing.
what he's speaking.
It's nothing.
It's
I mean,
not my opinion. I'm not saying this is a
there
good thing.
There are some real keyboard warriors in this group right now, or as I call them, pussies behind screens. And they are coming out, and it's not on because all he's speaking about is the knowledge of what he knows and what he's grown up with. We have grown up with something completely different, and that's why we hate it.
Yeah.
That's why we hate it, and we are what we are. But everything that Will is saying is only his knowledge. It's not his opinions. It's what he knows. It's fact.
He's just trying to give the facts for the realistic aspect of it.
We're actually lucky to have someone like Will, or on my side from Tottenham away, Brian Ireland, and the stuff he does with us when he comes on and with my channel, that he can speak the hard cast iron facts. Not, oh, this is what I think America does, or this is what this is. And you've got to remember, like Will said, it's not just American owners. We've got a British owner in our buffoon. We've got a Russian owner in Abramovich. We've got the Arabs that own Man City and all these other owners that are coming out. Will is just speaking about what he knows. We all hate it. Will hates it. Will bloody hates it. Like I said, and going back to the main point, if it gets this far, and as you were saying, people standing up, David, and the people, I'm all with you when it comes to the people power. And I think we do have an obligation and something we can do. I don't know if it'll do anything, but like I said, I have stopped buying anything Tottenham since that summer that we didn't sign anyone. I refuse to give a penny to Daniel Levy.
Same for me. I haven't bought anything from Tottenham since then.
A couple of years ago, I came back to London, and it was the last North London derby at Wembley when Aubameyang missed that penalty. And I've got a lot of friends that we all get together and watch it in a pub together, both Spurs and Arsenal, who can't get to go to the game. I was offered tickets for that game. And you imagine going back from Canada, get to watch the game. I'm in London, it's Tottenham Arsenal. And I'm like, are they complimentary tickets? They're like, no, they're about this amount. I was like, no, I'm not giving my money to Daniel Levy, even if it's Spurs Arsenal. And people can talk the talk, but they got to walk the walk as well. And I'm telling you, I will not watch a single second of the Super League.
Neither will I. Just quickly, Canadian Hotspur says here, the business of sports has evolved past fan support. More money is generated in sponsorship and TV deals. They don't care about us in the slightest. Look, I can see what you're saying, but why do you think they get the sponsorship and TV deals? For the fans. Because of the fans.
Yeah,
they do it to get their product out in front of people and the fans. That's why all this is in place. So to say that it's gone past fan support, I think I don't think it's correct, to be honest with you. Because if they don't have the audience, they don't get the sponsorships, they don't get the TV deals. It's that simple.
Yeah, but it's not. It's what I'm saying. What we're not understanding is that it's not just the UK fans. It's the whole world. You have to get the band. You have to. And I'm not saying it's not impossible. I'm not saying we shouldn't try, but I'm just saying trying to let you guys to realize.
Tottenham is a UK team. It's not a whole world. It's not a whole world team. It's based in England.
Right, but what I'm saying is you're talking 3 million watchers versus 180 million watchers. Do you think that they like the people like the guys talking, like calling Korean fans paper fans? They're just fans of Sun. As soon as Sun leaves, blah blah. Yeah, you're right. And those 40 million paper fans will go and watch the Super League to see Sun play in that Super League. Is what I'm telling you.
Sad reality.
And so,
but that's the thing as well, Will. Will. Like Will said again, this is the times that we're in. Do you know how many people just follow Jose Mourinho?
Yeah.
that have just stopped
Millions,
watching Tottenham
yeah.
now. This is what
Millions.
happened. This is what
It's a
we've
sad
all
thing
grown
about
up.
football.
All the people on this, or when I say this side of the point, I mean back home, we've grown up to support a team. I love Paul Gascoigne. Paul Gascoigne is my number one player of all time and always will be. When Paul Gascoigne went to Lazio, I didn't go to Lazio or Rangers or Everton or Middlesbrough or wherever. I stayed loyal to Tottenham because that's the team I support. But in some countries and in some cultures, and especially Korea, where they have Heung-min Son, who's like a shining light for that country. Korea aren't blessed with people like Son all over the big 5 leagues. Of course they're going to follow him. Of course they are. When I lived in Israel, when Tal
this is the problem, though, Brian.
Ben Haim signed for Bolton, do you think Israel started supporting Bolton? No. They started supporting Tel Ben Haim and Yossi Benayoun and Ayel Berkovic. This is what some countries do.
I get that, Brian, right? I fully get that. But they're not fans of the clubs like we are, and this is the
No,
difference.
that's what I'm saying.
They're a fan of the player. They couldn't really give a shit about our club once that player goes. We're fans of the club.
Correct.
We're fans of the club, and we want our club. We want, you know what I mean? But the rest of them people are only fans of the player. They wouldn't give a shit about our club when they go. You know what I mean? So I couldn't give a shit what they want, and I couldn't give a shit about people saying that they have the power. If they want to go and support Son for playing for United or whatever in the European Super League, go and let them do it. But at the end of the day, I couldn't give a shit about what they think because I care about my
There's
club.
not enough of us to stop this, is what I'm saying.
That's the point.
That's the point. That is a point.
That's exactly my point, David.
But
I'm not for this at all.
No,
right? And people can call me blokes and say I'm off my rocker or doing whatever, or that I'd be a perfect shill for Enoch. That's not my point. My point is, this is my point. Please listen to me, people. Please. Because I am not for this at all. I'm not. Okay? This is not something that I want to happen. I want my son to have the option to go play in 5 or 6 top leagues across the world someday as a professional. Not one. Right? You just made the odds of becoming a professional even harder for my own son, who dreams of being a professional footballer, playing in Syria or right now it's 1. That's what's going to happen. There will be 1 professional league now in Europe. Right? This is not a good thing for me or any of the dreams that my son has for himself. This is not a positive thing, right? I'm not saying this is positive at all. Okay. My point is that there are too many fans now that aren't tied to a club mentality. Worldwide. Right? Think about this. 8 million domestic viewers for the FA Cup final last season. 8 million in the UK. 8 million. 600 million views worldwide for that FA Cup. Do you think that those other 592 million fans could give a shit if the Premier League fails? Some of them, yes. Like me, Cody, right? Jack, right? Brian Ireland. Yes, we care. But we're a small percentage of that. I'm in Facebook groups, supporters groups here in the US, and people aren't upset. They're not mad. Like, hey, what do you guys think about this? What are your thoughts on that? Right,
yeah, well, then what I'd say is let them have their little waste of a space of a league. Let them have that league with no passion, no heart, no relegation, no promotion. Let them have it. But let us have our Tottenham Hotspur. The club we love. Not with the players. No, we don't follow players and managers around. We love this club. So let us have the club we want, and then let them go and form their little shitty league with no passion and no relegation. Let them have it. But leave Tottenham Hotspur to us, the fans.
I agree, David, right? I completely agree with what you said. I agree with what Will said. But the problem we have is nowadays football clubs can make hundreds of millions of pounds a year. This new format is going to treble even what they're making. And that is just, it's so sad because it's like what they're doing is they're trading money for the pure magic of football, right? The magic of why we love football. It's going to take the emotion out of football. We're not going to see those Champions League runs to the final, which it was a once in a generational thing, like we never expected to have. Or do you know what I mean? Or earn the right to get into the Champions League. The Peter Crouch goal in the to get to the Champions League for the first time. We're not going to feel those kind of emotions anymore because no matter what, this European Super League is just going to rake in more money than ever before, but for the price of your soul. But those owners of those 12, 15 clubs, they don't give a about it. They actually don't care.
Well, it's about time we made them realise, because they have to remember they're only custodians. Gary never said it brilliantly yesterday.
Only try.
They're only custodians of the club. That's all they are.
They own it.
Yeah, they own it. Yeah, it's true.
They own the land. You can call them a custodian all you'd like, right? And you can go start your own new Tottenham thing.
Yeah, but
they own the logo on the
club.
flag behind you. They own the name. They own the stadium. They own the players, right?
Yeah, but temporarily, like, because at the end of the day, if they make one move and piss off the fans and everything else to a point where they start boycotting things, which has happened around clubs, you know, they get their owners out and they get a new owner in. They are only temporarily custodians.
So sorry, just quickly,
just
in response to Kev Williams' chat there about who will boycott watching them in the Super League. Here we go. Here's one. Immediately.
Look, I think with the majority of the comments coming in today, I do think the majority of the fans are dead set against it, and that's what I see on Twitter and everything else. So I don't know. I don't think these people are going to get the support they think they're going to get. You know, James Watson, and plus, James Watson says, "Relax, soft bunch here. Never heard somebody back a side of an argument and not be for it."
What side of the argument did I back? When did I ever say this is a good thing?
You didn't.
I didn't. I'm telling you facts. I'm helping people to understand the depth and the weight of this, right? And to be less emotional and be more educated. Because when you're educated on something, then you can make sound, firm decisions, right? Like people saying, "Well, we're just gonna," like people think that like this league is going to take off and the club's going to have the same shit players that it had last week.
Stop this. Emotion is going to stop this. Educating your team and stuff.
What I'm saying,
is why these people are allowed to take this away from us. But emotion is what is going to stop this.
You can
At the end of the day, people can talk about education all we want. The reason why we support Tottenham is because we're emotionally attached to the club. So you cannot take the emotion away from it.
Rant, I'm all for that. I'll do it with you, right? What I'm saying is people need to understand the depth of this. When did I sound like I was backing it, James? When did I ever say, big up Daniel Levy, Tottenham Hotspur needs to play in this? I'm going to watch every match. When did I say that?
He's apologized here.
All I said was is that they could give a shit, okay? Which is a fact. Daniel Levy could give two, this is the first time I've ever used this word on a stream anywhere, flying fucks about the 3 million Spurs supporters or any of us super fans who watch this club week in and out. He could give a flying fuck about us. What he cares about is the other 100 million fans who watch this casually or follow certain players or certain managers who would watch this thing week in and week out and dump billions into it. That's who he cares about. That's who he cares about. Right? Look at all the Spurs support channels in here with super fans. Who's the biggest? Who has the most subscribers? Expressions, 182. Add all of us up. How many people does that make? How many people? Not even 1 million, right? So you think that that Daniel Levy gives a fuck about what we say here?
He don't care. Money, money.
Well, have you got one of those standing ovation noises? Because you deserve to give yourself one right now.
You do.
No, but I'm just sick of people in here.
Yep.
I'm sick of people throwing because my accent isn't right. Right, saying that I don't love this club. Right? I'm not saying this is a good idea. I'm not saying this is something I want to do. What I'm saying is that the mountain, and what I'm trying to let people know in this chat here that are watching this stream, is that the mountain that we're about to climb is a fucking big one. If you want to fight this, we're talking $10 billion. I don't even think half the people in this chat even understand the scale of what $10 billion looks like. If you were to put it into bills,
that's because they're working class people, and that's what football was originally for.
Put $100 bills into $10 billion, and it would be the size of the Empire State Building. Can you even fucking fathom that much cash? I just want people to know that this is a big battle, right? This isn't something that going down and waving signs around at the stadium. That's great. Do that. I'll do it with you. If I lived there, I would be out there right now. I wouldn't be on here. I'm not. Right? But what I'm saying is this battle that we're getting into is enormous. The scale is bigger than boycotts and not watching. That's what this scale is, right? It's bigger than governments. You don't think they've thought that out?
Yeah.
You think the British
100%.
government's going to be able to stop companies that are registered in other countries?
Who've got the
They
money
can't.
behind them to back it? That's the problem. There's too many. Look at JP Morgan. They're going to invest 5 billion into it. That's just one investor, let alone the rest of the investors that want a part of this.
We
It's
can fall on
sad.
our swords and die and stand on principle all we want. That's not going to change anything unless we understand the scale and the scope of this, right? It's going to take people with a ton of money to get out there and try to unite 4 billion fans worldwide.
Well
I'll
said,
stand
Paul.
on here and rant and cuss. And if you want me to get hyped up, I can get hyped up. If you want me to get fired up, cussing out and doing whatever, I can do that. I can do that as good as anybody else. Okay? I'm trying to let people understand what we're up against.
Yeah.
I know
Because
you're trying to let
I
people.
live that every day.
I know you're trying to tell people and you're trying to make them understand, but people just don't want it.
But you got to understand.
We can sit here and try and educate them all
You
they
can't
want.
fight
but at
a
the end of
war
the
if
day,
you
people
don't
want it, they
understand
don't
who
want
your
it.
enemy is. You cannot fight a battle if you don't understand who your enemy is.
Correct.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm
Is
just
he-
trying to educate people on who the enemy is, what the enemy is. The enemy isn't Enoch in the Super League. The enemy is trying to garner 4 billion fans to be on the same side. Because if 60 to 70% of them don't join us,
Yeah.
we're dead in the
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Big up James Weston for apologising, though, I have to say.
Yeah.
Big,
And that's
big,
fine.
big
I don't
up
have any
James.
personal. I'm going to be going on a stream in another 30 minutes. We've got the premiere of the Will and Cody Beard and Bald and Bearded Tottenham Boys show, which unfortunately had to start in the middle of this mess.
Will's in a bad mood today. He's been up all night. I know.
But-
But Will, James, just to let you know, it wasn't. I know you have been getting some comments on that, but James wasn't saying it because to do with the American thing. He's actually Canadian himself.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but he's just saying, Will, I'm literally saying I was wrong. I thought you were backing it because of the way you were going on about it. That's
You got to try. What you got to do is you got to try and bring this back to the original point. And the thing is, we've lost our manager. We're about to join a league that no one wants to join, and this is after an Everton game as well. After Dulux the dog, this is just all rolled up into a huge snowball that is the circus of our football club, and emotions are now pouring over, and everyone is shots firing at everyone. And it's not the case right now. This is the time where everyone needs to unite, not to cause all this nonsense. Listen, does anyone like where football's going? No. Does anyone like where Tottenham Hotspur are going? No, and I haven't done for years. So have many other people. Some other people have been, I love Tottenham, which is their right. Everyone is right to their opinion. I have mine. I'm very outspoken with mine. Very, very outspoken with mine. But this is a time where right now, as Will was saying, we need everyone to be on the same bloody page.
But not
That's
everybody's
it.
going to be on the same page,
No,
because everyone's
I'm
always going
saying
to
we
try and
need
go
everyone
to
to be on
people's
the same
opinion.
page. If, like Will said, there's a majority of us, like all us YouTubers that have been on, and a lot of the fans that have been on all the comments that I've been on the shows I've been on since yesterday, a lot of them are saying, I can't stand what's happening to my club. I don't tolerate this. Well, we need to do more than just put it on a chat and come on and have a view. This is the time, more than ever, when everyone needs to stand up and go, right, I don't agree with this. Yes, there's banners out there. We know that banners don't work. It may get the point across and cause toxic feelings within grounds. Listen, everyone hates this, apart from the money men. That's it. The money men are happy and they're laughing. Daniel Levy and all the other buffoons that are joining this league right now are just going like this, looking at their bank balance by the second, getting more and more money, whilst we are getting more and more irate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And We've got to stop the bank balance going up by coming together. The people that say, I don't want any part of this, do something. Do something. That's what we need to do. I mean, all these channels say, like, we're going live at 3, my time, which is 8 p.m. your time. As Will just said, he's about to go on another show. There's going to be Tottenham content the whole day through, and everyone's going to be having the same argument, and the same thing's going to happen wherever Will goes or wherever Brian Island goes. These shots are going to be fired when they don't need to be. The people that are watching the Irish right now are very, very lucky that they have an American here who can give the facts. Like I just said before, he can tell us how it is. He is kind of he's an asset. He's a good friend. He's a very good friend of mine, but he's an asset right now. So for people to understand what the hell is going to happen to our club and what the future looks like, because he lives in a country where he has seen this develop over years and years and years. Like he said, there were separate leagues, AFC, NFC. The NFL is the one I've got into. It's only been the NFL since I've known it. But he's seen it. His family have seen what happens. And it's an asset to have him, Brian Island, and other people coming on. I fucking hate hearing what he has to say. I hate it.
I've had teams
he hates
in my
saying
city that I've watched my whole young adult life ripped up, rooted up, and moved across the country. And then some other team that I'd never really ever looked at before is now my home team. Right? Could you imagine if all of a sudden Arsenal is rooted up and moved into Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Or Newcastle has moved from up north down into Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
But nobody would go and watch them in that stadium because it's the allegiances and loyalties over here. It's different to stuff over in America.
People change.
People actually have allegiancy and loyalties to the area, to their team. Well, you don't just pick up and move.
That's the funny part. We do too. We do too. And that's what really is pissing me off.
But your teams are just picking up and moving all over the place.
Can I just say something, right? Let me give you an example of how
the world changes.
Can I just say something, right? Let me give you an example of how people change. When West Ham went to that East London stadium, the Olympic Stadium, right? No one wanted that, but they're still getting the full capacity stadium filled out. They're still doing it. Why is that?
Because it's still in and around. It's still in and around where these people are from.
No one wanted it. They all hate it. I speak to all the West Ham fans that go to their games, and they hate it. They hate it, but they still go. They still go. They still pay the money to go watch their team, and that's the sad thing about it. Because
but the majority of them are paying to watch their team in and around where they're from.
Yeah, but they're going to a place where they don't want to be watching their team, but yet they still go.
Arsenal moved from Woolwich to North London.
It's a sad thing.
Let's not bring them into the equation. Please don't bring them into the bloody equation.
What I'm saying is people change, right? People will change. If it's just like the same from the movie comes.
Yeah, but not all changes are good though, Will. Not all changes. We can all sit here and say things change and people change, but not all changes are good, and this is one of them.
I agree with you. 9 billion trillion %. I agree. But what I'm saying is that this is a big fight. This isn't something that can be solved with, 300 to 500 fans down at the stadium holding banners. That's great. Do that. Okay.
It's a start.
If you live there, do that. Right. I'm not telling you not to do that. What I'm saying is that's not going to fix it. Right. A million of us not buying Spurs shirts or watching them on TV is not going to fix it. Right.
So what? Just sit down and accept it rather than actually try to do something.
Sit down and accept it. What I'm saying is you got to be. I'm not saying to capitulate here. What I'm saying is say what you mean, say what you want to say, but know what you're fighting against. Know the depth of it, right? Don't have a false security that if I do this, this, and this, this is gonna work right here, right now. No, you got to look. We got to go bigger. We got to think bigger. We got to start hitting not the clubs. We got to start hitting the brands that sponsor them. Go after Clutch or Klitsch or Clutch or Klutch or whatever it is. Dulax, AIA, right? Audi, right? If you want to hit people, that's where you hit them.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? This is bigger than just going after Enoch. This is going after Dulux. This is going after Clutch. This is going after Chevy. This is going after the Emirates Airlines. All of the sponsors of these clubs, you need to start going after them. as well, right? You need to start going after all of the points of money.
I get
in
what you're
football.
saying, but that's after you go at
No,
the
that's
owner of your
now.
club and you go at the people who
That's
want to form
first.
this Super League. That's
No,
all
you
after.
got to go after those companies now because they have the muscle to move those owners. We don't.
It's not the muscle. They got the money. They got the money.
That's their muscle, right? You can go after Enoch all day, but if you keep going buying Audis, if you keep going getting Hugo Boss cologne, if you keep going in and painting your house with Dulux paint, and you keep going and buying AIA insurance, they could give two craps what you're doing outside the stadium. You got to go after the money, right?
Brands like that just move on to the next best thing, though. So going after the brands, I don't think will actually do anything. It's the owners and the people and the footballing people who we need to go after. The brands will just move on to the next best thing.
No, but
they'll
that's
go
how
on
you
to the next best club.
Yeah, or just get another brand in. So it's
then you go after those brands.
The world is run by money, unfortunately, and the age that we live in, money is the key element in football nowadays.
America is not only the king of franchise football, we're also the kings and queens of cancel culture. And how do the leftist movements here in the United States cancel people? They go after their sponsorships, their ad revenue, right? They do. That's how you move. That's how you move politicians. That's how, in today's world, you got to go for the money.
Yeah, it's true. Well, look at politicians. If they can't fund their campaign, they can't run the campaign to become elected. And they have investors who fund their campaigns, right? That's in every country.
Billions.
I
did have a super chat there. I don't know where it's gone. Hasn't the American model lost billions recently?
Just like the English model, yeah, because of COVID.
No, just putting out, just putting up the chat. Only leftists cancel. JP Morgan is the source.
I'm not even a left. What are you talking about? I'm not even a Republican.
Pussy behind the screen.
I'm not even a Republican.
I don't know.
There you go.
Look, lads, I think we'll end it there because we all have streams to go to. I have another stream coming up. I was going to bring you fans on there today to come on. Look, I might stay going for a little while. Do one of you want to post a link in for the fans to see if anyone want to come on? Because I know a couple of you have to go for your own streams anyway. So
I think I can post it into the. Oh yeah, Danny, you're a moderator too, so you can post links in the chat too. Yeah, I'm not a Republican.
A few people moderators, but Brian and Will, when do you have to go?
So Tottenham away is streaming at 8 p.m. your time, so I'm free till 8 p.m.
Yeah,
I can be back for your 9:30 stream, but I have a stream at 1:30 right now, so
which is your time now, is it?
Yeah,
it's 1. So look, I'll just read out this super chat. I'll give you a chance to plug your channel, lad, and then I'll get Danny to put the link in the live chat here for people to come on if they want. But big time Gerter. Love the name. He says, big up to David for his passion, and I am with you. But Will is right. We have to be smart. We go after Enoch, etc. They will win because we are distracted. We go after Enoch, etc.
It's a fair point.
What does he mean by the second part?
Like, if we go after Enoch, he's like what we were saying. I think he's basically saying that Enoch will win because they will be distracted. Because it's the sponsors and people like that we need to actually go for, not Enoch. I think
Enoch is in the head of the fight for the Super League right now. The fight for Tottenham, Enoch are the head of the snake. The fight for the Super League, Enoch aren't head of the snake. It's like he said, it's AIA, it's Dulux, it's the shirt sponsor, it's anything associated with Tottenham Hotspur. Whoever's pumping money into the club, you need to cut them off. You literally need to kneecap them.
But Brian, we're talking about 15 of the biggest clubs on the planet. Man City, Man United. So you got to go after Emirates. You got to go after Arsenal.
Sponsors.
All the sponsors.
We can only deal with Tottenham.
No, we can rely on Emirates. You can not buy Chevys. You can do all those things now, right? You can boycott all of those sponsors of all of those clubs.
Tommy G says it's all of them. We need to go for all at the same time.
Because if Tottenham comes out and just Tottenham, is that going to stop the rest of them from doing it? No, and then we're dead anyway, right? So we've got, if we want to save Tottenham and stop the Super League, we have to go over after all the sponsors, right? People with bigger channels than us, people, you know, Robbie needs to get out there and start telling people to boycott sponsors of everybody, right?
Yep.
Who has a bigger voice than Robbie?
Every single YouTube channel needs to be able to do this.
Correct.
If we're going to stop it, that's how we're going to stop it. I'm just trying to tell people to scale, because right now what they're doing is they're wanting you to go after them because we have no power over them. They don't get paid the amount of money. How much money goes from ticket sales annually? Not even 10% of the club's revenue comes from ticket sales. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. That's what I'm trying to say. We have to go over what they do give a shit about. The 360 million stadium right naming deal, right? The 50 to 60 million pound a season shirt naming rights. That's what they give a shit about. They get more from AIA than they do from ticket sales. So what could they give a shit if you don't renew your season ticket? That's what I'm trying to say.
The only reason why these brands sponsor is because they know how to have 60-odd thousand week in, week out to advertise in front of, and all the people that pay
From the TV, they could care less about the
but
60,000
the
people in the
TV as
stands
well.
either.
But people, like, if people stopped giving the revenue to the game for these people to give to the clubs, the likes of the TV revenue, stop buying stuff in the club shop and everything else. We
Ticket
start
revenue is
David,
paying
what it is as well, David. It's not just the 60,000. Just imagine our stadium was named the British Airways Stadium. Just using this as a, every time on Soccer Saturday that they go over to Tottenham Hotspur, they're going to say, right, let's go over to the British Air. So whoever's watching Sky or BT or whatever channel are doing it, or radio, every single time they mention it, they won't say, let's go to the old White Hart Lane. They will say, let's go over to the British Airways Stadium. So even without going to that game, the 62,000 that are there, or lucky enough to be there, millions of people are going to hear that name.
Not just that.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is
also the people that are using British Airways.
Yeah, exactly. All the Spurs.
How are you going to stop the world using British Airways?
Well, no, I mean that's quite. I mean, like, I don't fly British Airways ever anyway. When I fly back, I use Air Canada. I use Air Canada or Air Transat. But if I was flying British Airways right now and Tottenham was called the British Airways Stadium, like I don't do anything for Levy, I wouldn't fly British Airways. There are hundreds of other. There's 100 other airlines that can get you to other countries or where you need to go. People go British Airways because they're British, and it's the there are millions. We are lucky in England that we are one of the biggest, or not biggest country in size, but one of the most important countries in the world, like for London, like one of the hubs of the world, where every airline pretty much flies out of there and will fly you anywhere. So when you come into the States or Canada, fly Virgin, fly Air Canada, fly Air Transat. Don't go on British Airways.
Fly Ryanair.
The only people that will, if it was the British Airways Stadium, are people that have accumulated hundreds upon thousands upon millions of air miles. And right now, with money being a hard thing, if my parents could only fly out to me through British Airways right now because of air miles, and we were sponsored, would I say to my parents, don't come and see me? No, of course, I wouldn't ask you to spend money, but if you've got free air miles, use it. But don't give your money to these people.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about in these tricky bastards too. The key about this is that they have already guaranteed from JP Morgan. It means a bank, right? Not a loan, it's an investment, which means they now own part of the league, right? You don't have to pay back investments. You have to pay back loans. You don't have to pay back investments, right? These are things that are done. These tricky bastards. We could hit them with any amount of financial pain that they have never felt before, and they'd still come out on top because they're talking about £1 billion over 5 years that each of these 12 clubs will get.
Correct.
To these kind of companies, they're worth hundreds of billions, so it's nothing for them.
Well, no, I mean, you're talking a fourth of our owners' net worth. in the
Yeah.
next 5 years that he's accumulated over his 86 years of being alive. A quarter of it. Right? So they're prepared. That's what I'm saying. This enemy, this fight that we're going into, right? They're prepared for the siege, right? We are an attacking army. They have set in for a siege. They have built the castle walls. They have fortified the towers. They are ready for the catapults. Is what I'm trying to tell people. That's what I'm trying. But if you don't understand the depth of it, and all you
Will,
do
they
is
do
go after,
understand it.
stop watching and stop buying a club shirt. Yeah, that helps. But that's a drop in the bucket.
Will, I look, to assume people don't understand the depth of it, I think is wrong. I think they do. They do definitely understand the depth of it. I just think, I think they must have picked you up wrong, thinking that maybe you were for it. I don't think it's that they don't understand the depth of it, but as well, look, just the reaction here is just people don't want it. So, look, we'll see where it goes from here. That's my opinion. We'll see what happens, see what comes out, see what the rules are, and then just see where we take it. But anyway, lads, look, I think I will end it off here. I will actually end it off because I have to get a bit of dinner and then I have more streaming and all to do. I'm very busy boy today. But I will get back with a show for you, the fans, the Harris Army out there. Probably either tonight or tomorrow. I'll probably do it tomorrow during the day, probably around 2-3 o'clock. If you guys want to come on and have your opinion about Jose and the European Super League and everything else. But honestly, look, we've done absolutely amazing numbers today, lads. At one stage, we were up over 250 people. Absolutely insane numbers for such a small channel like mine. But if you've enjoyed what we had to say, because these guests, they're on here regularly, along with a lot more others, smash a like on the stream. Smash a subscribe on the channel. I want to say thank you so much to everybody for your super chats. Channel wouldn't survive without them either. Thank you, everybody, to the memberships as well. Channel wouldn't survive without them. You're absolute legends, and I really do appreciate it. But look, before we do end off, I want the guys to let you know if you've liked what they had to say, where you can find them. So we'll start with Danny.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Danny Kiriakou. We've got a football debate channel coming out in the next few months. A lot of just different topics, and we're going to be have a lot of silly, stupid banter on there and some delusional fans just like us. And yeah, just talk everything football really, and we'll have a lot of different types of shows as well. So just look out for that. So there should be a few things coming in the next few months. So I hope to see you guys there.
100%. Look, they will be there. I'm sure they will. These guys, they're a loyal bunch. Tile Installation says they did this now so people can't protest. Yeah, I'd go along with the likes of that. Like I said, these guys are smart people. But Will, where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, sorry if I got fired up today. It's just that
Will, to be honest with you, this is what I was talking about yesterday to you. I want to see you fired up. I want to see your passion come out.
And it hurts me when people doubt my passion and love for the club. That's what gets me fired up, right? But you can disagree with my points or my comments. That's fine. I got no problem with that. That won't get me fired up. But when you start saying that I'm this or I'm that or I'm that or I'm this, okay, you're gonna get me fired up, right? But you can find it if you want to continue to find me fired up. You can come on over to THFC Rants, Will Stewart's THFC Rants. Cody Mack and I will be going live in about 10, 15, 20 minutes over there on that channel for the premiere. Drop the link in the
stream so people can go over before you get off.
Say what?
Put the link in the stream so people can head over before you get off.
Okie dokie. I will do that. And then you can go over and find it and watch that. We'll be talking about the same topic. It'll be kind of like a Q&A, question and answer from the comments type of a show. So the panel will be pretty small. We may open it up at the end and add people to it. Just depends. I did have some work to do today, but I guess I'll have to do that tomorrow.
I don't think any Spurs fan is working today, lad.
Hey, I struggled today. I absolutely fucking struggled.
But yeah, we'll be on there in 10 or 15 minutes. I'll go ahead and throw the link in here in about 5 seconds. So
100%. Brilliant. And Will or Brian.
Well, thank you, sir. So yeah, no, first of all, David, always a pleasure to come on your channel, mate. Always have a great laugh with you. So yeah, you can find me at Tottenham Away. Our Twitter handle and Instagram and Facebook is just mentioned as my name, Tottenham_away. The YouTube channel is simply Tottenham Away without the underscore. We're going live at 3 p.m. Toronto time, Eastern time, 8 p.m. back home time. We were going to have our normal Monday show, was just a chat with a fan from a different part of the world and just have a general chat. But seeing that there's been quite eventful 48 hours or 24, should we say, it's going to be a complete fan show. So we will be posting a link as soon as we go live for fans to call in. Like I said, it's from 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. London time. Please come and join us, like and subscribe to us. You all know me for my rants. I'm sure there'll be a few coming on in there. But also we got Brian Island, we got Shy and Stel, so we've got the coaching side of it as well. There'll be a discussion about the buffoon of our owners, the Super League, and obviously the real news that Jose has left the club. Please come and join us, and we appreciate all the help and support.
100%. And look, maybe the people can go to Will's channel then. If Will's finished before you go on, maybe you can post a link in Will's and just keep the fans going, because they all need the therapy. But look, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody for tuning in today. Numbers were absolutely huge. I want to say a big thank you to the panel. Absolute great points. They've really contributed to the show today with their passion and everything else. Where else would you get it? The Irish Hotspurs, the home of passion, and it's going to be the brand new home of Tottenham Hotspurs. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.